So, last time in Miasmato Renascence, right? So after 6 days of travel, the party arrived in Helmfirth. Yay, congratulations.
Woo.
Accompanied by Gerald, a warrior with the Gate Watch. The party split up to see the sights of the city. Aloran and Gerald shared a meal in a local tavern. Burberry met the town shrine's attendant Ianin during an impromptu sermon in the town square. Barnaby was introduced to the residents of the Strong Foundation Orphanage and set about preparing a homestyle meal. And John took Noel to speak with Bram Helt, the guildmaster of the Common Auxiliary Association, a local adventurers guild. When John presented his suspicions to Bram, he was met with some frustration. Bram did not feel that John had any more to go on other than a hunch that Willem Grimes was involved in the disappearance of Folk Claybrook, and he needed more information before he could dispatch any additional guild members to assist. So, John resolved to gather more information, and that night over dinner asked the others for their assistance. The party agreed, but decided that before returning to the Fairwood, they would travel to Freeport and reconnect Aloran with the Green Wardens. So the next morning, the party set off, camped on the edge of Woodhall that night, and caught the first ferry to Freeport the next morning. They quickly made their way to the Green Keep, the headquarters for the Green Wardens in town, and found that the Wardens had taken in a number of familiar faces from Aloran's past, including her mother, sheltering them in the wake of some terrible disaster. Ooh. Aloran's sudden reappearance quickly drew the attention of the Warden's leadership, and the party was quickly called on to meet with the steward and his conservators so that Aloran could finally debrief and share her story. So, do we have any questions before we get started?
What's a Lauren's story?
I
We'll
look
cover
forward
that
to
in
seeing other debriefings.
Any other questions?
What's a group of tridents called?
Gerald.
Tridents.
We'll cover that in a second.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. Here. So,
They call it an armory.
I think that we are basically ready then. If we want to get started,
Do
Sure.
you think we'll need any tabletop today?
possibly
I don't have to.
that's fine. If you need it, I will share screen. So to get back into
All his secrets.
so you guys have just been called across the building into a sort of a private meeting hall. There is this large round table set inside, and seated around it are a number of individuals, several elves, an orc, a tiefling whom Aloran recognized and was very eager to avoid when you first entered. And yeah, the bald human who just led you in, Conservator Mirren, has taken a seat amidst the others, and the figure sitting at the center of the table, this tall, long dark hair, slightly pointed ears, and he's got some faint scruff on his chin. Stands up and kind of gestures to the seats across the table from them. He says, "It's good to see you, Lauren. I'm glad to see you've returned safely."
Thank you. I'm glad to be alive.
Please, I imagine you've probably had quite a trying time of it coming home. If you want to make yourself comfortable, we have chairs. You don't have to just stand at the doorway.
Okay, I'll go take a seat.
All right, cool. And as you kind of pass into the room, kind of revealing that you've got company behind you, he kind of looks around and says, "Oh, are these friends of yours?"
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, they are.
For you people.
Nope, we're just random strangers that followed her in.
Oh, sorry, I'm not with them.
I don't know these people.
So where are we at exactly? We're like deep in this building at this point.
You're kind of at the far end of the building. On one, so it's kind of like a two-wing building with like a large foyer in the middle, and you guys are down the right-hand wing at the very end of the hallway in a little meeting room.
And where did the family reunion that we ended last session on take place?
The opposite wing, about halfway down.
Okay, so now Lauren's doing the debrief. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And you guys are all just kind of like assembled in the doorway behind her as she's stepping inside. And this lead figure kind of looks out to you all and he says, well, welcome to the Green Keep, strangers. Friends, please, if you are friends of the Lawrence, you are welcome here. Take a seat, by all means.
Thank you. Do you need to talk to Lauren privately, or?
It's not unless she would prefer to speak privately. There's not much call for keeping secrets here at the Warden's. I suppose I should introduce myself. He'll actually like stand from his seat and round the table to greet you all. My name is Aronir Elsa. I am steward here at the Green Keep.
Gonna need a spelling on that one.
These spelling. So Aronir is Aronir,
Okay.
and Elsar is just Elsar.
And he is the what?
He is the steward.
Steward.
I like a butler.
What's the what?
I said, is that like a butler?
You want to roll a history check? Aronir, Aronir, Elsar, Elsar.
Let's do that thing.
So,
History check.
Yeah.
I have +0 to history. Awesome. That's a 9.
9. Okay. It might be the butler. Fuck. You
Who
don't know.
knows?
You don't really know a whole lot about the wardens. You've interacted with a handful of them over the years, but you've kind of stuck to the adventurers. You know, those are your people. You know them. They know you. These wardens, who knows what they get up to.
I'll shake this guy's hand.
He'll take your hand, clasp it, and do like a small bow, and turn back to the figures behind him. These are the conservators, my closest associates here. He'll kind of go around the table. You've already met Miran Tavis. He'll gesture to the bald man who brought you into the room. This is Gal Northfang. He gestures to the elderly orc. This is Stramail Umbar. He'll point to one of the elves. This is Conservator Kaus. We'll turn to the tiefling, who is still looking somewhat put off by these proceedings. And finally, he turns to this dark greenish blue-haired, blue-skinned, elvish-looking figure. Not quite a trite. Sea elf, you recognize. And this is Conservator Alexei Mercurian.
Oh.
Yeah. And they will all, in turn, sort of raise a hand and greet you. So please take a seat. We can get started. He'll return to his seat.
Well, Laura,
So-
I think we leave this to you. Do you want us here for support, or would you rather do this by yourself?
Y'all can stay. You'll find out eventually. Might as well hear it from me.
Okay. I'll look for a seat then.
How exciting. I look forward to it.
Yeah, Aranir will just kind of gesture to the seats as you all file in. Oh, Lauren, I suppose start with the most basic question. What happened?
So we went back to my village by the big hole.
The Helan Abyss.
Yeah, fucking character. Hold on.
Yeah.
Went in there as soon as we started to do our investigation. Big rumbling. I got knocked out cold, but when I woke in, the entire village was squished. Everyone was dead, and I was just trying to make it to shore.
That is wow.
Burberry leans over to Noelle and says, "Is squished a technical term?"
I don't think so, but I think she's been through a lot.
That mirrors what we've heard from the other survivors who made their way back. Mirren tells us that you spoke with your mother. Glad that you were able to be reunited.
I was very happy to see she was still alive.
As were we. We were expecting the ship you all departed on to return. And it never did. And after the first week we began to worry. Talks began about dispatching crew to maybe see what had become of you, but then a shipping vessel came to port that the survivors spoke with in tow. From what they were able to tell us, your ship was sunk, just as your village was razed, unfortunately. We are holding out hope that there are other survivors on their way, but from the sound of it, sending a rescue team might be for a needle in a haystack, so to speak.
Yeah, I did go through the remains as best as I could. I couldn't find anybody.
It's curious to us that you have arrived separately. They were not able to recover you from wherever. What was it that separated the two of you? Because they were able to reunite over the week after their
Well, when I had
experience.
woken, I was very. I don't know how deep I was, but I was in heavens. I couldn't see anything around me, so I just swam up.
That would do it. That would certainly explain it. Well, does not sound like it was a terribly informative.
Only thing I can tell you is that whatever it was had a lot of eyes.
You see some eyebrows raised in the room. You see a couple of figures, Alexei and Shermail, actually, like kind of lean in and talk to each other. There's some whispering going on. At this point, Kaus, the tiefling, will lean forward. So you caught a glimpse of this thing that did it then?
Yes, it was very brief. I saw eyes and then darkness.
How big would you say this thing was?
Huge. It was massive. It was able to knock part side of the cliff and squish the village, so it must have been very large.
Kind of looks back to the other conservators. Now, this is certainly troubling.
Can I roll a nature or arcana check on that?
Yeah, I was kind of curious
Or what kind of critter that
any of us have ever heard of anything that big or that scary.
Yeah, sure.
What would you have us roll?
Nature, we'll say.
Okay.
It's just in the dice
Yeah,
tray.
it's just sitting in the dice.
I only got a 10.
Only 10, yeah.
Sorry,
Um,
natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay.
7.
I would say.
But I have a
no,
0 to nature, so.
Yeah, the stories you grew up with were not necessarily like seafaring stories. You really wouldn't know where to start guessing even what could be down there. John, you've grown up on this coast, and so some of the stories that you grew up with featured the sea much more prominently. You've heard stories about all kinds of sea monsters. You've heard about things called krakens, these gigantic, betentacled beasts that can pull entire ships down under the waves. You've heard of creatures called aboleths, which are also betentacled beasts that have unnatural sway over the minds of men. There's a variety of sea creatures, mythic and otherwise, that could be down there. The scant information that you have, however, is not really enough to go on. Just like big and can see very well.
It also smashed things rather than controlled
Yeah,
things.
and smashed things. So it's not really a lot of information to even start narrowing it down. You can like you have creatures in mind. You know, you can come up with sea creatures, but
There's nothing to
nothing
narrow
you
it
can
down.
tie it to. Yeah, it's just too scant.
Basically, we're thinking sea monster.
Judging from the story, yeah, this thing appeared out of the depths of the ocean and destroyed a village.
Probably not a land monster.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
sea monster. um, Conservator Kaus, however, is going to turn to the others and he will say, "If I've said it once, I have said it to this council 1,000 times. Our efforts are better directed towards defense against whatever may lie down there." And the other conservators all just kind of start they kind of meet each other's gaze. You can tell that this is a conversation that has taken place numerous times between the four of them. And within seconds, Stromael and Gowl, the orc, and one of the elves, they kind of start arguing with Kaus. It's like, we are better prepared to defend ourselves knowing what is down there. I believe. Da, da, da. The argument very quickly takes off again. And Alexei just kind of sits back and watches. You can see, like, he's almost checked out of this. Like, he's seen it so many times.
I do.
It's true, Alexei. Okay. What is it that you're trying to determine here?
Who's the leader?
The leader?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you would know this without
Yeah,
a
I'm
history roll.
like,
The leader is the steward, Aranir.
oh, yeah.
The guy who's been talking primarily until Kaus chimed in. The conservators are all sort of subordinate to the steward.
So he's
Did you
not
still want to
the
roll on
butler.
Alexei? We'll come back to it if you want
Can I
to.
do stance towards their conversation? If he was more.
Okay, yeah, sure. Insight.
So just while she's doing that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. 14. I think you can glean pretty easily that he's bored by this argument. Just reading the room, like this has been a common debate, and Alexei just you get the vibe that he's just like it's not even worth arguing anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but you do notice that he is still listening. He hasn't like tuned everything out. He's still pretty attentive. He like his eyes shift from Cows to Gaul to Strongvale. Or excuse me, what was his fucking name? Yeah, Strongvale. Um, and back again. And while you've been talking, he has been extremely attentive to you as well. But he hasn't really moved. He's just been kind of like leaned back in his chair, slightly slouched, one hand on his chin, listening. In the midst of this argument, Steward Aronir is going to raise a hand. Say, this is enough. We can continue this conversation after we're finished here. Alorn, is there anything else that you can remember from the expedition at all? Any noteworthy signs you may have seen before this creature struck?
It was when we first went down into it. It just happened immediately. We didn't even get a chance to explore anything when it happened. There was no signs.
That is disappointing, but I am glad you survived. You're one of two now who made it back from that expedition.
Who's the other? The
That
guy.
very, very
Okay,
injured
okay.
half-elf slumped in the room. You do recognize that he was there. Aronir will lean back in his chair. Say, well, we will certainly have a lengthy discussion about how to proceed on this front, Alorn. But for the time being, I think if that's all you have, thank you for it.
I wish I could have been more helpful.
Given the situation, it's understandable. We don't blame you at all. Again, I'm just grateful you survived.
Anything I can do?
Get some rest. Catch your breath. There's no rush to return to duty, I think, given what you've been through this past month. At which point, Alexei will actually chime in. How was it that you got back, you said?
Swam the hole, searched the ruins, and then I swam a month to shore. When I got there, I barely was able to walk, and then my friend Barnaby helped me recover. And once I was able to walk and move again, I had a group of travelers up there with me.
The kind of sidebar conversations die down a little bit. You do see some like very impressed faces. I think you are certainly to be commended for the Herculean effort you put forward, Alorn. You have our thanks. He'll turn to Aronir. Say, well, I think that's probably everything we can glean on this front. Suppose we should update you regarding the status of your friends and family. To which the steward will chime in and say, I had a fair point, Alexa. Thank you. Your mother, your friends in the village have been staying and are welcome to continue to stay with us for the foreseeable future. As you know, the keep is not exactly outfitted as a living area, but we've made do repurposing some of our chambers. In the long term, however, we are looking into a more permanent resettlement for them. Obviously, the village is not safe to return to. So we are exploring options around town and the surrounding communities. See if there's somewhere safe, secure, that they might be able to put down roots. You are more than welcome to stay here with them or whatever accommodations you have already acquired for yourself. And once we do have a plan as far as resettlement goes, we are more than happy to see you moved in to this new community with them as well. So, with that in mind, do you have any pressing business in the near future? Or will you be in town for a little while?
I was going to help my friend John locate his missing guild members since they have been helping me to return the favor.
The orc will actually chime in. Guild? You're with the CAA then? He'll address John.
Yes, I'm part of the Helmforth chapter.
Good people. Good people. You know the guildmaster, Bram?
Yes,
Friend of
he's
mine.
my mentor.
Ah. Very good man. Give him my regards next you see him.
I will.
Bram's been a long time friend of the wardens here. This is
No storm.
no, this is the orc. Gal.
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 Gaol. And he will finish with, I hope you're able to locate your missing friends in short order.
That would be preferable. His family misses him.
I can only imagine. At which point Cass will speak up again. It's like, if we're at the point of exchanging pleasantries, I think we can call this meeting adjourned. Steward. Peace, Cass. Yes, I think you're right. We should probably return to the business of the day. But we appreciate you stopping in, Alorn. It's good to know you're back. It's on 2 feet. So, keep us posted. Whenever you're ready to come back, we will certainly have work ready. There's always more to do. Gentlemen, he'll stand up and the others will follow. And you can see that they are quickly making their way out of the room. Kaus has already gotten back into that argument with Mirren and Stromale. And Aranir is very quickly dragged into the middle of that, trying to keep the peace. They just kind of move their way out the door. Mirren is quick to kind of turn aside, like, it was good meeting you all. Lauren, welcome back. I'm telling you that, and they continue out the door.
I'm gonna stand up.
And
Sorry, you still going?
yeah, no, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'll stand up. I just want to put a hand on Lauren's shoulder, and I'm just gonna say, Lauren, I'm so sorry.
Like it's not, but thank you. It's okay.
I'm glad we could help you at least.
Glad I ran into you all.
Art of endings is new beginnings. Hopefully, the next tale will be less squash prone.
Yeah, not so grim.
Here's hoping. Well, I suppose we need to decide what we're doing next. Does anyone have any specific ideas? Do we wish to stay the night here?
Well, I know someone needs to stay the night here.
Yeah.
I would not mind checking out
I
the
think-
Presidium.
Yeah, no,
think-
we have a tower to investigate. Tower will
Yes.
be different than her tower.
Very large tower.
Let's go check that out. It sounds interesting.
Yes, that was quite inspired.
I actually had an errand I wanted to run with Barnaby, if he's willing.
What?
Barnaby, I thought it might be prudent for us to maybe go look into the laws surrounding taxes and property along the Emerald Coast. And I would also like to know a little more about your interactions with Willem over the past year. So if you would like to accompany me, I think it could be informative.
I guess we could do that.
You
Not
all,
too much to say about what I did with Will.
you
Oh,
all are
right.
obviously welcome to join us. I just thought it'd be more boring. So if you want to go to the Presidium,
Not to make light of it or anything.
That's a big cock.
That's what happens when you roll a 2.
I missed something.
In general.
What are you gonna do when it's canon that your town got squashed by a big cock?
Harold.
Bigger one.
The Kraken cock.
I rolled really poorly on my intelligence check, and whenever we were talking about land critters that did that, I was like,
Chicken?
Large chicken.
God. So, it sounds like the party is about to depart. As you guys are making your way out, you will actually hear a voice call out to you in the foyer. Lauren, a word. And turning, you'll actually see that Alexi was actually waiting for you off to the side.
which one was Lexi?
Alexi was the sea elf. He's got long, greenish blue hair, and he's wearing this pretty like what's the word I'm looking for? Utilitarian, I guess. Robe. Not a lot of like embroidery on it. Just kind of a simple kind of purple, like down to the elbow sleeves, and kind of cuts off about the knees. Got some work clothes underneath. He's got his warden's sash just kind of draped over his shoulder.
If he had a picture drawn of him, would it be called a selfie? Sea elf.
That
Lord,
sounds like,
my-
sounds like that joke
You
needs to be
just
put on
condone.
the shelfie.
He will say,
People let it age a little bit.
yeah.
It's ahead of its time.
Have I seen a sea elf before?
Have you seen a sea? Yeah, you've probably seen them. You've traveled a lot.
Yes.
They tend to be more coastal versus Tritons, who are more deep sea oriented.
Do you see elves also live in the
No.
water primarily?
They have settlements above and below the water. They're pretty amphibious. They're very similar to the Vidalcan in that regard.
So what are the likelihoods like Tritons versus sea elves? Which one am I more likely to run into?
Probably a sea elf. Honestly.
Would you like us to hang around, or would you like us to walk ahead so you can catch up?
Let me catch up real quick.
All right. Just don't forget about the tower.
Just trust me, I will not. I need something to lift me up.
Well, he certainly has the strength for it. Now run on ahead.
All right. So
He
Aloran,
does get a room after this.
Aloran kind of peels off from the group as they walk ahead to hang back and talk with Alexei. I was
Oh,
not
I
aware
don't
that the
have a room, I
Presidium
just
had
want to
a
eat.
tower.
Oh, you're
Oh, he heard that.
I expect that was a euphemism. There's a small smile on his face.
perchance.
A word of caution. Gatewatch is a strange group. They are much, much more insular than we are here with the Wardens. Just brace yourself.
Speaking of the Gatewatch, do you know why one of them would want a tranquil plain?
You see him kind of think, if I'm not mistaken, those used to be a very common Gatewatch artifact. Not quite so common these days. I can't say I blame them for looking for one.
Do you know perchance where one may be?
I wouldn't know where to start. That is old and powerful magic. Somewhat beyond my king, unfortunately. And I don't mean to keep you long, Alor. I'm curious, after that somewhat shameful display back in the meeting.
Shameful. Out of character. Wait, what? Shameful.
My squabbling
Oh,
associates.
it's just their back death.
No, he's throwing a little bit of shade at the other servitors.
Clarify.
Yeah. After that somewhat shameful display, I have a sinking feeling that the Wardens are unlikely to dispatch a third expedition out to the Abyss, which I fear is going to leave the matter somewhat unresolved. Since you were there firsthand, I would be curious to hear your opinion on how we might proceed from here. I understand that I am asking a fairly fresh warden for a very, very heavy question. I'm simply looking for your perspective. I promise this is not a test. You can relax.
They always say that.
You were there. You have a better insight into the conditions, what came to pass than anyone, really. I think your perspective is worth considering, at the very least.
Um, in my village, it was always said not to go into the hole because no one ever came out of it if they went in. We've broken that rule twice. This second time, it destroyed a small village. First time, destroyed the Wait. History check on what happened. Do I know what happened the first time?
You just know that the first expedition never came back.
First expedition never came. Second expedition levied a town. I could fear what would happen. The third one, what the consequences might be. But at the same time, there is definitely something very dangerous there that came out. So we might have already passed the limits of not messing with it.
That is more than fair. I think we might be of a similar mind on that account then. I recall that you do have business to attend to. in the coming days. When you are more free, I would be interested in speaking further on this matter. I'm working on something. Something I think you might want to be a part of. But it is not time sensitive. I can certainly wait. And it's a lot to cover. So, if you are so inclined, I will be here to keep, as I always am. Stop by, track me down. We can talk then.
I will do that.
Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I hope the rest of your stay in Freeport is somewhat restful. Maybe not too restful, but enough.
Out of character. I'm not gonna say this too. I got a tower to climb. Anyway,
In character, what do you say?
I think I'll blush a little bit and be like, it will probably be restful.
Well, don't let me keep you any longer. Glad you're alive, Miss Oglath. And he will turn and walk away. So, Lauren can catch up with the rest of the group. You guys, I guess, are just kind of like milling about on the steps of the keep outside, kind of soaking in the city. Lauren will come to the front doors and down the steps. So, the group is assembled. What do you want to do?
Do you feel quite resolved?
I feel better than I have in a while. At least a little bit.
Good, good. Mental acuity is an important thing to have.
Yes.
Well, we have two directions to go. So who wants to go with me and who wants to go to the Presidium?
Y'all already know where I'm going.
It's one for the Presidium.
I suppose it would depend. Obviously, a lord wants to go to the Presidian. I too would like to go to the Presidian. However,
I do need my wingman, though.
yes, but how to say this well? No.
Okay.
If another person would also like to go to the Presidian, I would happily go along just to get a good look at it. However, I've come to find out that perhaps I was a little bit too into the business earlier, and I'm not quite sure when to stop. So.
Like John will be accompanying Noel.
Okay, so John's going with Noel.
My only request is that Barnaby specifically comes with me because I just want to get some insight into his experience.
Yeah, I'll be passing on going to that perineum.
Also, clarification. Is it Presidium or Presidian?
Presidium.
Presidium.
With
Okay.
an M.
Let me double check my notes.
Yep.
You need someone to go with you. Is it a request for me to come with? I'm good either way.
You may do whatever you please. I just want to explore.
Heads or tails?
Well, it's up to you, Burberry, if you want to go meet a bunch of powerful warriors or come look at the tax law.
You might find a beautiful.
Apparently,
warrior.
warriors win.
Yeah, whatever you prefer.
I am not offended. I understand.
Okay. So it sounds like the parties are formed. Aloran and Burberry are going to the Presidium. And
Wait, was that decided?
is that what it sounded like? That's what it sounded like.
She said warriors.
It was. The
Yeah.
Warriors win.
Yeah.
Although I think he stands there for like an uncomfortable amount of time, like with his head slightly cocked.
Like thinking about it.
Like
It's a tough one, I know.
before going.
All right. So Aloran and Berber are heading in one direction. Noel, Barnaby, and John are heading in another. So, how about our two team leaders? Roll a d20 for me.
Who's the team?
You are.
You clearly.
Pointing doesn't work, guys. The cameras are randomized for all of us.
I know,
Well,
but
I'm
to
right
me,
next
she's right here. Plet's here.
Right.
I'm literally.
Oh yeah, you physically
right
were point. Okay, because
I
on my
pinpointed.
screen you pointed at me.
If I was pointing at her on my screen, she'd be up here, which is.
Well, I mean, technically, you are still a team leader, so.
For me, you're down. Right.
Okay, who are you asking to roll? Sorry.
Noel and Aloran.
Okay.
D20s.
I rolled shit. I rolled a
Is this
3.
my success
This is who goes first. Yeah.
getting my tower today?
No, this is just who goes first.
I rolled a 3.
I rolled a 6.
Hey, we both rolled
Okay.
shit, but that's higher than mine.
All right. So
You know,
it
your dad
sounds
rolls
like the Presidium is up first. So as you guys split up, going your separate ways, Lauren, you are headed to the Presidium. Do you remember where it is?
I would feel like I do because
He gave us directions.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually,
good.
I could just tell you before we part ways that it was. I think he said the southeast corner next to the docks. It was or something like that.
It was off the coast.
am I supposed to take that detailed?
It's on the edge of town. I'm just asking if if you even know where you're going.
I'll put it
Yeah.
I think that's where the headquarters are. That's where I trained.
You know that is fair.
So
That is a fair point. Okay.
I know where.
That is more than fair. That's all I was looking for. Okay. So no navigation rolls needed whatsoever. You recall that the Presidium is it's this fortress that's basically on like the most like southeastern edge of town, on the coast. It's kind of the corner of this peninsula that the city is built on, past all of these crowded docks, past sort of the small elvish neighborhood of little Sarah Shore, past the dwindling structures of the cattle ranches. Beyond that, you're walking probably a good hour out of town. And you come up to this large, sort of open expanse of sort of well-tended fields and these red-roofed structures and complexes. You see soldiers in armor practicing drills in these yards, not too dissimilar from the garrison fortress that you passed on the way into Helmfirth. And you recognize that these are more Eastern Alliance soldiers. They maintain a very sizable garrison on this side of town. And you know that past this, looking ahead, you can see rises this tall, ancient stone fortress. No magnificent towers to speak of on this thing. You see, this
The
imposing,
towers are on the inside, Plet.
this imposing flat surface of a stone wall. These tall, rounded turrets, kind of every so often. Just kind of a featureless, imposing structure. And passing this this sort of military base next to it, there's some soldiers who kind of catch sight of you, and they kind of see your trajectory, and you'll notice they kind of like look at each other incredulously. They kind of like walk away, and just like you get the vibe off of them that these guys don't associate with each other at all. And as you get closer and closer to the Presidium, those well-tended military lawns give way to just like rugged, tall prairie grass, sand dunes. This area is not tended to, it is not kept. And walking up to the gates of this fortress, you can see like it's sheer stone with the occasional like metal plating like riveted onto the turrets, but stained by the rain, eroded by the winds, very old, very run down. There's kind of this ancient haunted structure on the edge of town. There is a portcullis in the gate that has been raised. Does not seem like they are the least bit concerned about people coming in. The gate itself is sort of standing open, ajar, like someone passed through it and just didn't close it behind them. And you can hear just kind of this distant, erratic clanging sound, this ching, 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 from beyond the gate. The occasional shout or cry. But beyond that, it's exertion.
Okay. It was like,
You haven't played Zelda, so you don't know, but it's lots of Link noises, like ah, yeah, like sword noises, fighting, and kind of stepping up through the gate and passing inside. You can see.
can't peek through the gate. And kind of
You want to peek in?
I want to peek in.
Okay, yeah, sure.
There's a
So you
little
move
bit of light
inside.
that says brought to you by Hyrule.
Yeah. You look inside and you see that the courtyard beyond the gate is more or less just kind of like a dirt field. The occasional stone, a few tufts of wild grass growing here and there. Just a mangy looking interior. You can see some stables off to one side. You can see some other like sheds and stuff off to the other.
Can I see the horses at this?
Yeah, you can see some horse heads
Can
poking
I
out the doors.
recognize
Give me a perception check.
An assistance.
what?
I love how as we get to this scene, it's playing Witcher music. Like that's perfect.
Oh shit! Got like a. I don't think.
Yeah.
Did you roll with advantage?
Oh no!
Oh.
Dang it, I'm helping.
Thank you. Because it was a 3, so
Oof.
which did not see. Not much better. I was doing
Perception.
13.
13?
Wait.
It's in that blue box skills perception.
Oh. Plus 14.
So 14. Okay. Yeah. That is enough to see that there is, in fact, a large white horse poking his head out of one of the stable windows. You recognize Gerald's steed. And the horses are all just kind of watching this sort of mock duel taking place in the courtyard in front of this large keep at the center of the facility. You see two figures, swords drawn. One with short, dark hair. The one's about 6 inches long, and it's got kind of like a hook to the left.
Named Roach.
One of them is wielding a steel longsword, straight edged. The other is actually wielding with two hands a curved longsword. The individual wielding the curved sword, you can see he's got short dark hair, and he's wearing this loose robe over a breastplate and some armor plating like over the legs. The other individual is wearing leather armor underneath a heavy leather coat, and has a short shock of white hair on top of his head, very tightly cropped, kind of like fade cutted along the sides. And they are both locked in this pretty intense sparring match under the supervision of a third figure, who is this tall, lithe figure, very long and slender, wearing like a full suit of plate armor. Like their body is completely obscured by this dark, almost black plate mail. And they're wearing a helmet with a very narrow visor pulled down over the face, just kind of standing and watching, arms crossed. And right now, they're sparring in the yard as you peek around the corner.
Did we just go in?
Do we just waltz in? Do we just waltz in like we own the place? I don't know.
Yes, well,
He did invite us to come by, but I'm
I'm gonna walk in.
You're gonna walk in.
Well, I'm gonna walk in like 3 steps, and then I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
I'm gonna think about it, and then I'm gonna keep walking.
all right,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna follow.
Okay. So as you guys start your very tentative approach, yeah, you see the armored figure look up from the sparring match and like snap one finger. The fighting stops, and the figure just points at the two of you, and the two swordsmen kind of turn their heads, and the white-haired one just kind of calls out, "Hey, you guys lost? What are you doing here?"
Hey, actually, we are not lost. Assuming this is the Presidium.
Yeah, you found it. He starts walking over.
We're actually in search of a member of yours, Gerald.
You're looking for Gerald. He just got home.
Yes, we know. We were actually.
Yes.
Yes, he invited us.
Yes.
Did he now? This guy's got a big smile on his face.
We were traveling together for a little bit, and unfortunately, we had some business to attend to, so we got separated by the ferry.
Yeah, no, he mentioned he had some company on the road. Good to meet you guys. He'll extend a hand. Name's Rainer.
Lauren.
I'm just gonna look at Alora and just.
Lauren. The smile gets even bigger. He takes your hand, real hearty handshake.
What's his name?
Raynor. Raynor.
And was he this?
And this is the white hair with the straight sword.
And on a scale of 1 to 10.
How bangable?
Bangable, is he? Pretty fucking bangable, let me tell you. Like, I don't know if the attitude does it for you, but like the face, pretty good face. He's got them chiseled features. He got like that nice heavy brow,
He's
like
got a nice afterglow from the fight.
yeah. He's like glistening in the sun from the from the fight. There's like a faint wisp of steam coming off, right?
I turn over to Bear and I'm like,
The head nod.
Tell you what, why don't you go find Gerald for us, huh? I'll keep our new friends company. And the dark-haired figure, who's probably like a head shorter than this guy, he's gonna be like, Raynor, you're coming off a little. He's like, hey, look at Gerald. Segunda will just kind of look at the two of you and he'll say, apologies for him. Say, don't apologize. Go. And
It was very nice meeting you, yes.
thank you.
good to meet you too. You're welcome. As he hurries off. You can see the armored figure off to the side, just kind of like as they walk, like hands up, like really. Not a word comes out of them, but after a moment, they just kind of shake their head, and you see them kind of walk over to the stables and start feeding the horses. Yeah. Meanwhile, Rainer is just like arms crossed, like big fucking grin on his face. Like, so,
And I'd be like, what did you all hear?
it's funny. It's really not what he said. It's more. I mean, come on, you know Gerald, right? That's what he didn't say. Am I right or am I right?
What was he pushing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm just gonna be like, have a nice smile, shaking my head like, yeah.
Trust me.
Quick question.
I'm living for this shit.
How tall is Rainer compared to us?
Oh, he's like 6'2", 6'3", like all broad-shouldered, like big motherfucker. Not John or Barnaby size, obviously, but like he like for a human-looking dude, like big.
It's a
Big as
bonus that he's doing like this whole number of like looking down.
Yeah, I like literally down.
Yeah, nah. Like so, he wasn't super forthcoming with details, but I gotta say, I'm curious. How'd you guys meet?
Um, I don't remember the name of the camp, but he was camping
He was
alone,
camping, and we were about to also camp, so we
Yeah.
camped together so that we
and we
wouldn't get
just kind of forced ourselves upon him. Made friends.
He just
It's not
he
the
gets
word I would
incredible.
use. I mean, it was very happenstance, yes.
Yes, but he just seemed more like, yeah, sure, I guess. Why
Yeah,
not?
that sounds like Gerald for sure. Oh God, this is fucking cold.
What is so funny to you about this?
I mean, you've met the guy, right? Clearly, you know the guy. Oh God,
He's
too
quite
fu-
charming in the right circumstances.
He does like it. No, I was gonna say something.
And it's absolutely adorable when his face does the thing. You know, like and he's doing like the hand waving in front of his mask things.
Right? Yeah. Rainer just kind of shakes his head. He's like, oh, man. Yeah. Charming isn't necessarily the word we'd use for him.
You don't find him charming? What would
I
you?
find him funny. I find him funny. Pushing his buttons is one of the fucking things that makes my day. I love it. Oh God, I can't wait to see this.
Are you here to just push his buttons more?
Oh, can't wait.
That's yes.
A moment later, you see Secundo kind of run out of the front doors of the main keep, and he says, "He's on his way. He's talking with the marshal." To which Raynor's like, "Oh, okay. Should probably look busy then." Yeah. Hey, Secundo, we should maybe get back to it. Yeah. It's like you
It's all
want to
right
fight?
if I
now?
spectate.
Knock yourself out.
That is unwise.
Eh. That's good. He'll just be like, come on, Segura, and get his sword back out. Segura just kind of looks at him. He's like, hey, should we not give him some? No. We should be training. The marshal's coming, right? Look busy. Chop chop. Let's go.
Wait, who's the marshal? A little panic.
I'm
Don't
guessing
worry
a
about it.
high up rank.
He's already walking away. And as they're kind of walking away and like getting back into their ready stance, and starting their sparring matchup again, you see the door swing open and Gerald walks out, unarmored. He's actually just wearing like plain clothes. Yeah.
Just kidding,
No, he's pretty buff. He's got them shoulders right. You see them kind of pushed at the edges of his shirt. You know, he's real tight around the biceps.
Just like a
Ooh,
skin
look
tight
at
tank top.
that. Yeah.
I see he's dressed to impress.
It's more just a plain like cotton
Just
shirt,
stepped out of the
just a
sauna.
basic- He actually looks like cleaner and more refreshed than you've ever seen him since he's been traveling, for the past week.
Yeah.
Looks like he's had a bath, like brushed his hair, shaved a little bit,
Are we,
beard's a
are
little
we talking
shorter.
like The Rock in a t-shirt or Vin Diesel in a t-shirt?
Probably closer to Vin Diesel, I'll say. He's not like rock size by any means. I think Rock is closer to John. But he's pretty built out for an older guy. You know, he looks good. And he is talking to this other figure who doesn't follow him out the door. Actually, he kind of stops in the door frame. And Gerald kind of turns to finish whatever they're saying, and you see this individual, similar stature to Gerald, maybe like a couple inches taller. Hood pulled up over the head, cloak over the shoulders. There's like a little clasp under the neck. You can see at a distance. You can also see a pair of horns protruding from the forehead out from under the hood and kind of curling back over the back of the head.
Can I do like a check to see what race he is?
Yeah, give me a perception check. 21. Wow. Okay. So at this distance, it's kind of hard because you've got the sun kind of shining directly down on you, and he's standing in like a dark ass doorway. So he's very obscured. But with the 21, you make note of a couple of things. Under the hood, this guy has a blindfold wrapped around his face. Eyes totally obscured. Skin looks to be sort of a tan color, but mottled. There's discoloration there. And in the shadow, it's kind of hard to see what color that is exactly. But you can tell that there's some serious like blotchiness to his skin. And I'll say with the 21, I think you also will make note of the fact that the clasp under the neck doesn't look metallic so much. Like it's bright. It's catching the light, but you know, a moment later, you kind of like are squinting at it. It looks like it actually kind of looks more like bone or like nail, and you realize it's actually like two interlinked claws. And then it hits you that cloak, the way it's sort of fanning down over the arms is not actually a fabric cloak at all. It's actually a pair of wings that are wrapped around this individual, clasped under the neck,
Yo,
like a cloak. He is standing in that doorway, that dark doorway, finishing his conversation with Gerald. Gerald bows respectfully before turning to you, and this individual simply kind of looks out the window, or not the way, out the doorway in your direction. No response. He just turns around and walks back inside. And Gerald kind of walks past the two sparring in the yard and up to you, and he says, "Didn't expect to see you so soon. How are you two holding up?"
Better.
In her case, swimmingly. In my case, boatingly.
I guess y'all took the ferry. Except for you, yeah. No, that's cool. So, welcome to the Presidium. Kind of gestures around at the rundown fortress around him.
It's fascinating.
Beautiful,
It
isn't
looks
it?
almost as old as some of the gods.
It might be older than some of them. This place got built centuries back when we first came out to the coast. Can't say it has been kept up since then, but we do what we can.
Well,
So,
you needn't mind me. I'm mostly here to make sure that she gets back in one piece.
probably wise. Freeport is not the safest city in the world. generally a good idea to move as a group when you can.
And he just nods and says, "Well, I find that watching sparring is fascinating, and while watching other kinds of sparring is fascinating, I think I'm going to watch that one."
Right. He kind of looks over his shoulder at the two sparring, and as he does, like you kind of look with him and realize like they're like barely like swinging. It's just like, clink, like clink, clink. You can see like Rander's not even paying attention to what he's doing. He's just like parrying and like swinging and like just watching this conversation at a distance. Secunda, meanwhile, is like trying, like he's actually like throwing himself into it, but Rander's just effortlessly just fucking ching 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 parrying him aside.
I almost feel like I should spare the dying because it looks like someone's about to die of embarrassment.
Yeah, Gerald sees Rainer make eye contact with him, and like you can see like the red starts to.
I'm just gonna spare the dying it real quick. It's fine.
It's a cantrip.
Yeah, it's a cantrip. You just hire spell slots on stupider things.
So, yeah, well, welcome to the Presidium. I guess I can give you the tour. So that's the main gate.
Can I be a little sarcastic and be like, oh really?
Yeah, no, that's the main one right there.
No way.
Yeah,
No way.
we got another one.
I greatly admire you as a person.
Yeah.
I think I have
Yeah.
this. That's the main.
man.
There's two. There's
That's
the front
the
and back
background.
gate.
Why don't you go ahead and just show
Oh,
us?
street. Street.
Stables are over there.
Or the back gate.
You hear behind Gerald, Rainer. Oh fuck! You cut me. Sakuda's like, I'm sorry, you didn't parry. He's like, how was I supposed to? See this shit. Sakuda's just like, you really shouldn't be doing this here. Gerald's like, let's go up front. Front gate's good. Let's go on the front gate. Shall we?
All right,
He will lead you.
I'll stay here. You'll have fun.
As you guys walk away, you just hear Rainer like laughing and cursing in the same breath, like, damn it, you cut me. Oh my god, it's deep.
Wait, I can help you with that. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, cure wounds that, because I can.
Hey, cure wounds.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, give me a roll. Give me a roll. How many hit points do you restore? We'll see how much you pulled off.
Six.
6. Okay. The gash on the back of his hand closes up almost completely. There's still some discoloration, but like the bleeding totally stops. It just looks like a very fresh scar now. He just shakes his hand like, oh, thanks. Yeah.
One always has
You
to be
were
prepared for every
everything.
scenario.
Yeah. So, your conclave. Nice.
Yes,
Well, we don't get a lot of your kind around here.
I imagine not.
No.
It's a bit sword swiggy and
No. Not really their bag, is it? Sucks though, like you think demon killing would be.
finding of new gods is kind of contrary to the killing of old ones.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them gods, but manic.
Symbolism, all that.
So he'll kind of start talking with you and joking a little bit. Meanwhile, Gerald leads you out front of the keep and just kind of into the dunes around it, and he's just like,
What
whenever there's opportunity to make a new joke, I truly cannot help myself.
I'm picking that up. Yeah. No, that he still just beat red. Yeah. Um. Well. Yeah. I. I guess I looks around. It's fucking sand, like fucking beach grass. I. Yeah. It's a nice castle.
I like it. It's cozy.
He buries his head in his hands.
Is everything all right?
No, I'm good. Rainer is just he's a handful. You know, he's
Seemed to take a lot of joy when I walked through the gate.
yeah. No, he was all over that little snippet when I got home. Really, really digging into that facet of the trip. I don't get what he thinks is so funny, but fuck, whatever, man. So I'll be honest. There's really not a lot to see here. I'm glad you came by.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, yeah. No, I mean, but now you've seen it. Uh, can't really bring you inside. You know, the Presidium's very particular about that. Got a lot of sensitive stuff in there, but that is where we live, and I'll be hanging around here for a little while. Till it's time to head back out. A few weeks.
Will you be slaying more demons?
No, there's I don't know, another maybe magic mirror out there. Word came in while I was away. Thankfully, I shouldn't be grousing, honestly. I almost went a year without word at one point. Nothing to go on. So it's something, you know, it's a lead. This might be it.
Hope that the lead is fruitful.
Same. So, you gonna be in town for
Um,
any length of time here?
don't believe so. I know we're spending the night tonight, and then I'm not sure what our plans are from there. So we're gonna go and face the creepy villain who was stealing money from our friend. So
Yeah, the sleazy cowboy
yeah,
you mentioned. Yeah, he sounds like kind of an asshole.
he's very gross.
I haven't met him. I can't say I sound. So, yeah, I hope that goes well.
It's like found out some of my family survived, so very happy about that.
Your family's survived. That's good. Survived what? Exactly what happened?
Yeah, but it's got pushed by a thing that I don't know what it is. But
Oh shit. That's horrible. I'm sorry.
I feel a little lighter now. So,
No, that must be a relief. This was Triton village out at sea.
yeah, at the Sea of Halan, I lived on the right next to the cliff of the abyss.
Oh wow, yeah, y'all were way out there, huh?
And
Wow. Oh wow. Glad your family's okay. That's a lot.
but if you do hear of a creature with many eyes, or creatures, or you find something like that, the Green Wardens would be interested.
You know, we don't often cross paths, but I will definitely
Weren't the
keep
Green
an ear
Wardens and Gatewatchers sisters and company at the
a long time ago. Yeah, it things have kind of fallen apart since Illyria fell. I shouldn't be dredging up old shit like this, but I think I mentioned it. Yeah, no, we were formed back when the world was first settled, and then after Illyria fell, and Inigard sort of took over. We sort of had to make peace with the new rule.
That's the new
Well, the United Kingdom of Lysel. And the Wardens, they never came off as a threat, and people love them, you know? And I don't blame them. You guys are everywhere. You're helpful. You're present. It would have been pretty difficult, I think, to get them to disband. But Gatewatch is not quite so popular. People don't really know us, and we kind of have to keep it that way because we're sitting on top of a lot of real dark shit. You know, you kill demons, you kill them enough, and you learn a lot of real nasty stuff. It's not something we should really be, making super publicly accessible. So the watch keeps to itself. The new rule doesn't like that. They,
Well, probably if the population saw what you saw, there'd be fear.
well, it's true. I think they feel a little threatened by us too, truth be told. I mean, the entire purpose is be strong enough to kill anything that pops through a gate or teleports in. Or...
You definitely look strong enough.
Blushes a little bit. Well, thank you. But yeah, no, just the way we operate, I think it was threatening enough that they felt the need to step in, start making demands, forcing our hands. That's what happens to all the tranquil pains, right? They took them, or we destroyed them to keep them away from the new king. So, not exactly what we once were. Not exactly as close with the wardens as we used to be, which is probably for the best. You don't want to make things difficult for you guys. Y'all don't need the baggage that comes with avoiding with a bunch of psychotic demon slayers.
You'd say psychotic. Say charming.
You've met Rainer.
He's funny.
Not a word I would use.
What would you use?
Obnoxious.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm being real negative. Look, it is good to see you. It is. I imagine you're probably going to be spending time with your family while you're in town, though. Yeah. I mean, if you've got time, I'll be here for the next couple of weeks. But I'm gonna be heading out eventually. So, if you do want to meet up again, maybe grab another steak.
I wouldn't mind getting some exercise.
Just like with a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Maybe a little bit. Not like overbearing, just like he could take it that way or he could not take it that way.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Give me a persuasion check.
This flirt game is getting really strong.
Ooh.
This would be a success.
Ooh.
You let them know you need to work on your polearm mastery.
I heard that.
What'd you say? I didn't hear
Said you
that.
could let him know you need to work on your polearm mastery.
What did she roll?
18.
18. Okay. He he blushes. He gets it. He hears what she's saying. There's a smile on his face. Yeah. Um. I actually I did have something I wanted to give you. Starts kind of checking pockets. Yep, there it is. It's like reaches down like a cargo pocket, pulls it out. And
His cargo pants.
yeah. Combat boots underneath. All right. He has a small metal emblem in his hand. That he hands to you, and you can see that depicted on this is the same eye and sword icon that he had on his brooch. And he'll say, "So, you hold on to that. You show that to any watchers you might encounter, and that marks you as a friend of ours."
Do I have
A
something I could give him? And
I want to give him something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him.
I know I'm wearing a shell necklace, right?
You do. You got your necklace. You got like some shells on your waist, right? Like
I'll give him my shell necklace.
the neck. Oh, he takes that, and well, it was a gift, but this is also very nice. Thank you. So I'll put it on.
Does he look like he likes it actually?
He seems very flattered. Still just as awkward as ever, but he does seem flattered. I will say the necklace is a little tight on his neck.
Oh. What about the necklace with like
Oh, is it? Was it
Yeah, it like drapes
Oh,
down.
you're right. Yeah, never mind. It's just kind of like it like stops like here. We'll say.
With all the jewelry that girls give guys, it always does that.
Yeah.
It stops like right underneath the neck.
He says, yeah, thank you. And as he is sort of standing there awkwardly, you guys are staring at each other, just kind of like, right, having this moment. Burberry. At this point, I think Rainer has given up all pretense of pretending to spar with.
Okay, I actually did have questions about our magistrate,
Our what?
the dude, the demon dude, devil dude,
The marshal?
Marshall. That's the word.
Right.
Mainly, what is he?
What was he?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Give me a perception check first off, just because I don't know if you saw him. I know Lauren got a really good perception check, but then she didn't say anything about it.
Didn't seem like the right time to discuss
Okay.
that.
That's fair. It's fair. Sorry. I put perception. So 15.
15? I'd say you would have seen the horns, but the detail of the wings necessarily would not have necessarily been visible to you. Just because it was, obscured.
Well, the thing that interested me most was the blindfold.
Yeah.
Would I have spotted that?
With a 15, I'm going to say no, just because this is. Oh! Wait, no, never mind. Yeah, I'd say with a 15, at that distance, with that kind of bright sun shining down at you, and him standing in the dark like that, anything beyond the silhouette is not going to be super clear.
Well, in that case, I will ask, by the way, I saw your marshal person. Is he a tiefling?
Marshall Gideon? No, he's a mess.
A mess. Oh, that sounds fascinating. Tell me more.
And for the first time, I think you actually see Rainer kind of falter a little bit. The smile kind of fades just a touch, and he's like, I probably
roll
shouldn't
insight?
be. Yeah, sure. Probably shouldn't be saying too much about superior officers like that. He's a solid guy. He is.
Well,
12? Okay. It's obvious. He seems a little intimidated by the marshal.
oh, my apologies. I don't mean to,
You there?
sorry. I didn't mean to overturn any rocks or anything like
No.
that.
It's, probably shouldn't be talking ill of, superior officers like that. Gerald's great. Gerald's Gerald. But, the marshal is actually like a big time guy. Shouldn't, the watch is real particular about who comes in, who sees what. It's very, like, glad you stopped by. Super glad you stopped by. Don't get me wrong. Like, this has been great. And he actually kind of like leans over to like look out the gate a little bit. God, they're still there. But
It's a slow process. Just let it happen naturally, and something will go down.
we should probably try and fucking help, Yeah. Actually, I got something. And he's gonna walk up to the gate. As you guys are kind of having this moment, having just exchanged your things, Rainer is gonna lean out the gate, and he's actually gonna yell out to you guys, "Ask him about his wife!" And
Oh,
Gerald's
shit.
face immediately fucking crumbles, like the eyes go wide, like you see a vein immediately pop out. He like looks over at Rainer, he says, "Excuse me." Walks stridently over to the gate, and before Rainer can back up, like, "Hey, I was kidding. Boom! Fucking decks him and knocks his ass on the ground. and just keeps walking. And walks into the keep. Closes the door behind him.
Hey, Reynard. I think you fucked up.
Yeah, no, that's my bad. Oh fuck yeah, he'd be
You want
good.
me to fix that?
Nah, honestly, he'll do it again if he sees it's gone. Oh
I mean,
shit.
it was kind of deserved, apparently. You know, you did bring up a ex-wife. I'm hoping it's an ex-wife.
Yeah, ex-wife. No. Uh, it's been a bit. I figured maybe get over it. Guess not. Thought
You
about it.
might want to keep that one like permanently in your back pocket. Just like shove it all the way down there.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well,
Was there anything, since that was a couple of minutes, was there anything he wanted to ask Burberry? Well,
honestly, he would have been very preoccupied, like just kind of making small talk and listening in through the gate, like trying to like hear what they're talking about outside. So he probably wouldn't have actually been a very, very good host.
sure.
Facundo, meanwhile, is initially he's like very apologetic about cutting the hand, and then kind of backs off, and he's like, "Oh God," he's just not paying attention at all anymore. And then he eventually just goes over to the stables and starts helping the armored figure.
Lauren would walk over there, just like very sullen. She's just like, does he have a wife? And is like taken aback and is like,
Oh, no,
Slightly
it's okay, Lauren. It's an egg. It's,
anymore.
or she might be dead. I'm going with dead.
am I embarrassing? Why the other woman? Just freaking out.
No. You're not the other woman. You are the woman.
You're the next one. Honestly, he needs it. Rainer just
So blatant.
he's still sitting on the ground, just like looking up at you with his bloody lip.
We were having a moment. You fucked it up. I'm
Now
out.
you fucked up.
Emotions right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'll be honest. Kind of thought maybe he'd have mellowed out about it. Guess not.
Can I cure wounds on him?
He said,
He's just gonna hold a hand up, like you really don't. No, he's gonna do. Oh, I did. He's gonna stand up and start trying to walk away from you. He's like, "Look, it was great meeting you guys, but probably should get back to it." Secundo, you can show them out, right? He's like, "You do it." Like,
we can see ourselves out. Thank you.
You know what?
I think
Good,
we have this.
good plan. Great, awesome plan.
The door is that way, right? He points
Yeah, no,
towards
the
the
gate.
main
The gate you
gate.
just walked in. Yeah, that one. That's the one.
Nice meeting you.
You too, Lord. Good to meet you, Burberry. Fucking hell. And you guys will just make your
What's
way
his face?
out of the keep.
Apparently, Gerald will deck him again.
That's why I was trying to heal him.
You guys depart the keep. And as you walk out, the gate door actually closes behind you as somebody walks up and shuts it.
Sussy.
Hey, I guess we'll be heading.
Wait, where are we going?
I think the others are at the library.
A great question. Where are the others going? Let's switch to them, shall we? As you guys decide to catch up with
Oh, wait. Sorry, 2 seconds.
I heard Gerald mention something about steak. Do you want to go get some steak? Steak sounds amazing.
I could go for a piece of meat.
Yes.
All right.
And scene.
All right. So, Noelle, Barnaby, and John, where are you guys going?
Well, I figure with my knowledge of large cities and John's potential knowledge of this place, has he been here? He lives very close to it.
John's. I actually
I've
don't
been
know
in
how
there a
much
few
experience
times.
John.
I assume you would have been here at least
What's
a
the
couple times.
I've probably been to Freeport at least a few times. It's not too far from Humford.
No, it's not. Um,
So
you probably have like a passing familiarity with the city then.
I assume with our combined efforts, we could find. I would probably want to start at the courthouse and see if they have either the documents I'm
Courthouse.
looking for, or would be able to direct me in that direction.
Okay. Um, I'd say go ahead and roll a. What's a good city navigating check?
Either investigation or perception. What I would use.
We'll go
survival
investigation
just 'cause
then.
it's
Sure.
direction a
Yeah.
little bit.
Give me an investigation roll.
Can I have help, or can I have advantage since John's helping?
Yeah. Yeah. Beep, 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 beep.
With advantage, that is a 16.
16. Okay. Easily done then. You guys aren't super far from downtown, which would be a good place to start. So making your way from the Angler's Wharf north into the central district of the city. You start kind of looking around down streets and eventually find your way down to a wide open city square with a large sort of open air market on one side, and on the other, the walled garden of what appears to be either a city hall or a local courthouse. There's a large clock tower built on the top central portion of this three-story building. You can see multiple wings kind of branching off of that central portion. And you can see people kind of milling in and out of the front doors. Most of them fairly well dressed. Clearly, some important local building. Looking inside, you do find that this is the city courthouse. There's a reception area with some seating. There's a directory available along one wall. In the distance, down these wings, you can hear occasionally the distant echo of a gavel. And you can see people kind of moving up and down these halls, and then on the second and third story, which are both visible from this very tall open foyer. You can see people walking along the walkways up there as well. Looking at the directory in this courthouse, you see that there is the city clerk's office with records and town history on the second floor. So, making your way up there to the clerk's office, there is a sort of a two portions to this part of the courthouse. You've got on one side this small but tightly packed library. It looks like there are a handful of reading tables and chairs available, lamps. Some individuals in suits and carrying cases are seated, poring over a handful of tomes that have been pulled off and set out in front of them. And on the other side, there is sort of a long, almost like a teller's window set up with a number of receptionists seated behind it, queues in front of most of them with people standing in line waiting. Very quiet conversation taking place in here. Very mellow, stuffy chamber, kind of muggy. And periodically you'll see some of these receptionists will stand up and head into a back room behind that counter. And maybe 10 minutes later, sometimes 15, they will reemerge with a handful of papers I can pass them under the window to the individual in line, who will take them aside. Some of them just leave after they've collected those. Others will kind of step aside to one of the vacant tables, look over them, maybe make some notes on some parts that they brought themselves or in a book that they brought, and return to the window to pass the records back before leaving. So it looks like you're in the right place.
Okay. Backing up a little bit. So given that John and I successfully navigated our way to this place, I figure on the way there, Noelle would take out her journal, flip to a blank page, and just say to Barnaby,
Okay, so if we're going to do some research, I need to know a little bit more about your arrangement with Willem. Barnaby, could you tell me everything that happened, or everything you remember about the last year? Did things ever get
Everything?
Did things ever get as bad as they got that night? Did you ever feel like you were being threatened by him? Was there ever any use of force? Just everything noteworthy.
That is a good question. DM, what all did happen in that year?
All right.
Basically, to clarify this so we don't have to go over a year's worth of history, I'm more just asking,
I don't
like,
exactly know.
If
I could absolutely bullshit.
I'm more just clarifying, like, if ever things got that bad, or if he felt like he was forced into something. Oh, and another important question I would ask is whether he ever signed anything. Like, how did this whole thing start, and did it ever get that bad as it got when we visited?
So, Barnaby came out of the woods onto that beach, collected refuse, built his shack, right? Did that over a period of time. I think you would have been visited by Willem first as you were nearing the end of their construction process. I'm going to eat it anyways. And your interactions with him have always just kind of been the way they were the night the party was there. He obviously comes across as very sleazy. He always travels with a large group. He never was like outright threatening. He never made any direct threats, but he would talk about, the inconvenience of having to make a second trip back. He would talk about, what a shame it would be if he had to go back to Venice with such a piddling trifle amount, just shady, but not incriminating.
Did he ever mention anyone else that he collected taxes from, or that never came up? Like, did he say, like, oh, I wouldn't want you to end up like fucking Bob down the street who missed his payment?
Down the shore?
No, he would never have gone to that point. And I mean, he's only been doing this over the past year. So you've only seen him like 10 or 11 times, really. He shows up once a month or so, sometimes longer, depending on, whatever. And just kind of collects what you have on hand to take back to his boss.
Another important thing was just, how did it start? Like, what did the general conversation vibe, what was it when this first started?
Out after I set up my shack.
All right. I guess that first conversation would have been um, Willem coming by with his group to sort of investigate this new settlement in the Fairwood and introducing himself and laying out the arrangement that you would end up having with him, where he is the local sheriff. He works for good old Vanis Theron up in the mountains. The woods around here is his land, and as you have deigned to settle on it, you will respect his authority and his what's the word I'm looking for? His preeminence when it comes to, the affairs of the woods. And he also asks that all who have settled in the woods pay their due to their rightful owner of these lands.
And Barnaby was just kind of like, okay.
Oh, if I had to pay taxes, it only makes sense that I do.
Okay, so I will, just in my journal, probably have like a page of information. Sounds like nothing super crazy happened over that year. And it sounds like, given that you didn't mention it, there was never any documentation signed between the two of them.
No, he never brought out a contract or anything like that.
Okay. Well, once we get into this room, I'll go up to one of the receptionists, or I guess get in line or whatever.
Okay. So, you stand in line?
Mm-hmm.
Is the whole group standing in line, or is it just Noel?
It's up to them.
Well, all right. At any rate, Noel's waiting in line. And waiting in line at the fucking city courthouse is boring and tedious.
Oh no, I've been there.
Yeah, half hour passes, an hour passes. Eventually, you make your way to the head of the line, and seated before you on the other side of this counter is a middle-aged human woman. Got straight brown hair streaked with gray. She's got pulled back in a tight bun. And you can see on her shirt she has a small name tag that says Beverly. He says, welcome to the Freeport clerk's office. What can I do for you?
Hi, I'm looking for tax documents and info regarding proper taxation and land ownership rights along the Emerald Coast.
You're looking for tax code?
Yeah.
Oh, ma'am, there is a copy back there. She'll actually point over your shoulder at the library. She'll say that is publicly accessible to anyone. Please do not remove any books from the premises. And re-shelve whatever you pull back where you found it. Was that everything you needed, ma'am?
It was. Thank you.
Next!
I do not recall you describing there were books on the wall, but fair enough.
I said there was a library!
I thought we walked by a library. I didn't think we were in the library.
It was part of the clerk's office. It was part of the clerk's office. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's so real, though. You wait in line an hour and they tell you, oh, it's right behind you.
Yeah, it's in that, or it's in the room across the hall.
So
It's a lot like working, whenever you're at work and someone's like, oh, where do you find this? And you're just like...
Yeah.
I'm standing in front of it.
like...
Okay, so...
you finish very short conversation.
I am
Be
assuming,
blunt.
based on my past experience in courthouses, that this is a wall of books that are identically bound, save for a series of ascending numbers on the spine.
That's a safe assumption, sure. They're definitely not like a wide variety of interesting covers here. It's all like plain leather binding.
So, like I said, my goal here is to find information. If it's as granular as, like, specifically along the Fairwood, I would go that far. But if it's just like tax code and documents about what kind of rights people who are collecting or who are having taxes collected from them have, what kind of documentation needs to be provided, if any. Basically, I'm trying to find everything that Willem did wrong. And I'm also trying to see if Vanis even has the right to do this. So I'd like to look at property information as well. I'd like to see if landowners, need to have contracts in regards to taxation on their land and stuff.
Okay.
Really exciting
ahead and
stuff
give me-
to get into in D&D.
Give me an investigation check then, yeah.
Gonna get through all of this, and somebody's gonna get sued.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna use my inspiration for this roll because I rolled shitty and I don't want to roll shitty for this.
Oh shit.
One sec. Gotta...
Dennis, be afraid. Tax Noel is here. Stirring your plots.
Are you being shaken down by shady dudes in the woods? Call me. I'm Noel, the tax bard.
Look, I'm trying to earn my College of Eloquence, alright? You gotta be, like, good at debate and be knowledgeable about shit like that. Okay, what was I rolling? Investigation?
Struck you!
Investigation 15, thanks to the inspiration.
15?
Yeah.
15. Okay. So,
And on that note,
I will say this to start out. It takes you a few minutes of just like perusing these shelves to reach the section regarding Emerald Coast's tax policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you do reach that section, it is like a solid 2 shelves by itself.
Sure.
Just book, just like tons of tomes. Looks like a big topic.
Yeah.
So
The more
you
more
pull the
granular
first
I can get with it, the better. Like if I can narrow down locations or yeah, like specifically the Fairwood
Yeah.
or along the coast or whatever.
So, pulling that first tome and looking through it, you see that this isn't even like law in this book. This is more of a guide to the rest of the tax code.
That's
This like one solid 500-page like tiny print book, just describing like in summary what all the other fucking books in the tax code have in them.
that's
All right, so
helpful.
you
at
have
least.
essentially a large plot. So it's a start. And going down through this kind of section by section, tome by tome, you get a picture of the Emerald Coast's tax situation that is somewhat daunting. This place is a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Alia is a single city, and the surrounding territories all governed by a single code. You could probably summarize in a single book. The Emerald Coast, however, is a large, sprawling region governed by a confederacy called the Eastern Alliance, which prioritizes, independence and cooperation and personal sovereignty and all these things that has effectively created a situation where every major city has their own individual tax code, but they also all have responsibilities that they owe to the larger alliance itself. The alliance itself can't levy taxes, but it does require military commitment from its member cities. It does require pooled funding for um, those sorts of projects, military or civic or otherwise. Um, and sorting out sort of the interdependence of all of these different codes, um, you see that it's a fuzzy, difficult thing to clarify uh, jurisdiction in certain frontier regions, like the Fairwood. And this is probably stuff that you come to piece together over the course of an hour or two, just because you're having to go through so much text to build this picture for yourself.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the problem that you run into is you are not really able to find a solid answer anywhere in these books about who like has jurisdiction over the Fairwood necessarily. Like you can't pin a specific major city's tax code to that region, so you can't really see if anyone would have authority over it. And you feel like if you were to like really dig and start trying to find that in here, it would require a much larger time commitment, because it's a lot of text that you're trying to get through. I will say that while you are going through all these books, you've got the glossary and you're pulling down, the occasional other book to kind of cross-reference some stuff. One of the suited individuals who is in there as well will kind of take notice of your little group after a minute, and probably after 2 hours, because he's in the midst of his own reading as well. But about 2 hours later, he puts his book away and has turned his lamp off and kind of stops by your table and clears his throat. Excuse me, don't mean to trouble you.
Can I help you?
I couldn't help but notice you've been in here for quite some time.
I just look up. I have bags under my eyes.
Yeah.
What is John and Barnaby doing right now?
That is a great question.
They are probably bored out of their skulls.
Barnaby got telling Steve one of his long-winded stories.
Fell asleep in his chair.
Barnaby doesn't care.
I imagine the clerks probably eventually came out from behind the desk and were like, sir, if you're going, oh God, you're tall. Sir, if you're going to be sleeping and snoring like that, I'm going to have to ask you to step outside. This is the library.
What are you talking about? I'm giving him a story.
Also, you. Shh.
I don't whisper.
John's gonna eye them. We're like,
Does this count as a long rest for John?
No, this is only a couple hours. But so this man has stopped at your table, Noel.
Yeah, I pull myself away from the 5 books I have in front of me, and I'm just like,
Yes.
Are you preparing for a case? Haven't you run here before?
It probably looks like that. No, I am helping a friend of mine,
and I just loosely gesture over to Barnaby.
He seems to be in a bit of a, apparently an awkward situation with some people collecting taxes, and we're not really sure what part of it was legal and what part wasn't. So I was hoping to clarify that, but
I just gesture to the table.
This is a lot more than I thought it would be.
You certainly have your work cut out for you. He will actually take a seat next to you. It's like, I am presently in the midst of the case myself, but I expect we'll be getting a sentence shortly here. If you're in the market for a lawyer,
as much as
I would like to offer you.
As much as I would appreciate something like that right now, none of us exactly have a ton of money That's why we're doing this on our own.
Gotcha. Best of luck. He'll stand up and walk away.
That's how you get rid of a lawyer.
So, anyways, it was at that point I knew that that gator was not dead.
Okay, last
and my
thing.
paws got about to get a bite in the ass.
Last thing, I just want to, I don't know if it's a separate thing or if this was already covered, but just look up like the rights of landowners and how rent works on that front.
Rent. Okay. Give me another investigation check, I'll say. Because that would not necessarily be in the tax code. That'd be separate.
Question.
Ooh, I rolled good.
How long has Barnaby been at that shack?
A little over a year, I think you said.
Property owners or I guess landlords and their property rights.
Yeah, well, and I guess the tenants.
What?
Yeah.
How long has Barnaby been at the shack?
Was
A
what?
little over a year.
How long has Barnaby been at the shack?
Oh, he's been there about a year. Yeah.
It started pretty quickly after he was
That
there.
was around the same time that Grimes showed up.
Basically, when he got his house set up, it sounds like Grimes showed up.
Okay.
I got a
I just wasn't
19
sure if-
plus 1, so 20 for this one.
Okay, 20.
This is probably not as complicated as tax code, right?
So again, you run into the issue of every city has their own rules about this. And Freeport does not have every major city's laws on property rights and the like on hand. Freeport has Freeport's laws on property rights. So you do see that in Freeport, it's pretty cut and dry, contained to like one book. It's not a super different situation from like modern property right rules. Like tenants have a certain obligation to maintain the property, and but the property owner is also responsible for maintenance, and if they provide shit yeah if
Adding
they
to the
provide
list of things we're expecting to DM today.
yeah I mean I was ready, but I'm also just like, oh god.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, let me narrow it
So
down a little bit here. The question I'm
Right.
ultimately asking is, does Vanis have the right to collect rent from someone regardless of whether he calls it taxes or rent? Like, if Vanis did get in some kind of legal trouble, could he just say, like, well, this was just sort of an informal rent agreement, and that's it. We're done.
In conjunction with that, is rent only for people in cities? Or if I build a cabin in the woods, am I going to have to pay rent too?
Only if they find you.
I will say that at least in Freeport and in the lands around Freeport, to which are subject to Freeport law, right? You would gather that if a person settles on private land, the landowner obviously has the right to kick them out as squatters, or they could establish a rent agreement. That's totally on the level as well. The problem, again, that you're finding is that when it comes to the Fairwood specifically, there are not a lot of references to it, and there's no clear description anywhere of who has jurisdiction there. As best as you're able to tell at this point with like a 21, I think you gathered that the Fairwood is sort of treated like a wilderness frontier region between cities, and so doesn't really have anyone laying claim to it necessarily that you can see. Because there's no word that in any of these pages that you're reading that like Handalar would be in charge of administering that region. And there's no word that Freeport or Helmfirth is in charge of administering that region. Any records that you do find about like the specific areas that these towns and cities govern, the Fairwood does not show up on any of them.
Like somebody purchasing that land.
Yeah, is there a record of anyone even buying it then?
In the tax code and in the property right laws, no, there's no sales records here. These books are legal books. These are law books.
I mean, just thinking, I guess with John's assistance here, just thinking about this, like, where would someone even purchase land on the Fairwood then? Like, where would you go? Who would you even talk to?
Oh, because from what it sounds like, if the Fairwoods is considered wilderness, right? Then if you build there, it's not private property.
Right. So if we can, like, if this guy doesn't have rights to it, or like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah. So to clarify a little bit, it's not that it is explicitly considered wilderness area. It's just not addressed anywhere. Like it's not treated as a settled area. It's not treated as an administrative area. It just doesn't get mentioned in any of these books. There's just no laws pertaining to the Fairwood that you can see.
So I think the next step should be trying to see if we can verify if someone has purchased that land or not.
Yeah, might as well. It's worth asking at least. Are there any of the clerks open?
It's been.
You said it's
like
been
2.5
like
hours, 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours at this point.
Yeah, you've been here. There's still lines. Yeah, you gotta get back in line.
Hey, if I start snowing again, maybe they'll come over.
Oh, good idea.
Because you guys got here like early in the morning, right? Like it's maybe almost noon now.
All I gotta do is just start sleeping again. They'll come over.
That would have been like morning, like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we got a plan. John's gonna start snoring again.
Do it.
Yo, John's gonna fall asleep. Start snoring again.
See if we can get Beverly to come over here.
Okay.
Jimmy's arm was thoroughly stuck in that croc's mouth, and the only way to get out of there was to make the croc sneeze.
Okay. At that point, yeah, Beverly will stand up and come around the counter and be like, I have asked you 3 times now. I'm going to have to call security and have you leave, sir. You cannot sleep in here.
Beverly, while you're
He's
up,
not sleeping. He's listening to my story.
Yeah, I wasn't sleeping. My eyes were just closed.
while,
But now that you're here, I do have a question for you.
while you're here,
Make it quick, because I don't want you to interrupt the story. We're just about to the finale.
Sir, this is a library.
Beverly, where would we go for documents on property ownership?
If you're looking for sales records or records of deed, you can ask at the counter. He'll point back to the record counter.
Okay.
I was gonna eyeball the lines. So like,
You wanted the roleplay bureaucracy. That's what we're doing tonight.
You made the first quest about taxes, sir.
I didn't make it about taxes. I made it about a shady cowboy. You made it about taxes.
And what was that cowboy collecting?
Pickled fish.
Well-preserved pickled fish.
I'm just trying to figure out if we fucking go just on a meta level, if we just go and mess with Vanis, are we just gonna be basically breaking onto private property and fucking with people for no reason? I'm trying to avoid that situation.
Okay.
I'll get back in line, and I will wait
All right.
a ridiculous amount of time to talk to this woman to get one piece of paper.
That's fair.
You know what?
Okay.
Suddenly, I'm really, really glad that I was.
You have
Aren't you glad you got to watch awkward encounters and power jokes and gates?
Well, Burger, you don't have a
I
you
will
don't have
say
a god
they
of
have been here for so
bureaucracy.
long at this point. If you guys want to like catch up with them, you're more than able to. Like
I thought they
you
were
don't
going to
you don't have a god of
that's
bureaucracy.
true. So
I mean, I
y'all
do.
could
It's
wander
got a
around
cost.
town looking for a library.
It's a god of what?
well, if they like went to a library and then asked like if because they knew we were gonna go
I thought
look
you
at
were
like
a
tax
god of
information.
cocks. I was like, what?
Yeah. Eventually, y'all could probably be directed here after a few hours of like walking around town. You'd get directions. You'd catch up, and Noel would still be standing in line.
Just like
I
hand
understand
in my
bureaucrats
face.
can be dicks, but
Is there anything else you wanted to do, Burberry, before we found everybody?
Ooh. I do wish that they would have told us that they were going to a library. I suppose.
didn't we?
Did you have research you wanted to do there?
I did have some matters that I wanted to look into, yes.
Okay, then let us head to the library.
So y'all are just going to the library.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Give me an investigation check to find this library.
But I know.
Oh wait, you know the town.
I know the
Oh,
town.
the town. Damn it. That's right. Okay.
You're with a traveled guide.
Fair enough. Okay. So you know that the courthouse has a legal library. You know that there is the Temple District, which is further north in town. There is a large conclave temple there that also has a library of religious texts. If you're looking for that.
Okay, so I guess I'll leave this.
So yeah, aware of a handful of private libraries around town that are administered by wealthy citizens that are just kind of collections of books, assorted books, all kinds of books. So it's just kind of a question of what you're looking for.
All right, Burberry.
Uh,
Anything
I'll
structured?
I was looking for religious texts and for lists
A list.
of creatures, so that we could look into your Leviathan thing.
Interesting.
Some kind of manual of monsters.
Yeah.
I wonder where you'd find one of those.
Wow, is it back at the Presidio?
No, I mean, so there's the temple library you could go to if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That would definitely have religious texts. Gotcha. Honestly, like as far as what you're asking, I think you could probably just go to any of them, and maybe they'd have something. Like this creature's come up, and it's just like the most, unheard of thing. It kind of boggles the mind and doesn't really call anything immediately to mind for some of you. So it's just kind of like it's a crapshoot wherever you go. So you just want to start looking at libraries, trying to find it.
Sounds amusing.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead and just give me a general investigation check as y'all start scouring town.
You guys like my dice guy? It's a little fish.
Ooh,
That's cute.
18?
18. Okay.
This is investigation.
Yes.
Ooh, nat 20.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah.
It helps. Religion would be on that skill thing, or not religion, investigation. Excuse me.
21.
21. Okay. So 21 and 18. Good rolls. So I think that over the course of your search, you hit up a handful of libraries that you're familiar with. Ask, the curators at the library and the librarians, if they can assist you with finding books on specific things. And you're able to look over a number of tomes over the course of the day. I will say that as far as the sea creature goes, there are legends that they're able to inform you about. There are records, actually, of old battles that the Gatewatch and the Wardens have been a part of in ancient times with foul beasties. You would actually find out about an incursion back in Illyria's time from a plane of water where sea creatures, foul, heinous, otherworldly beings poured through a portal that opened in the Western Sea near Inigard. And the Wardens and Gatewatch were both involved in the effort to end that invasion. And there's records of, demonic merfolk, marids, these water elementals, all kinds of strange otherworldly creatures. Nothing that's directly calling to mind what you saw in the trench, though. Unfortunately. So,
In God's regard, I'm just trying to increase my portfolio, so to speak.
okay.
So I tend to look in the really not used sections.
So I think what you would get from the Conclave library, and what few religious texts that the other libraries have, there have been a number of treatises written about the new gods that have been conjuncted with this world. The ones that the Conclave kind of commits to spreading the word of, figures like Kalal and Elise. These are the most well known. They've got lots written on them. There's old revered deacons and cardinals of the Conclave that have communed directly with these figures and recorded these dialogues that they've had with them.
Are these libraries also connected with bookstores, or are those different entities?
They are not. So the Conclave Library is going to be connected to this large temple complex that's actually built in the northern side of the city. That is actually run by the Conclave itself. There's a number of Conclave priests kind of milling about this area, and just the library is one wing of this temple complex.
I do have one question.
Hmm.
Did we find anything about the Lothamog?
You would not actually.
Ooh, good for
He
me.
would not. He would not have come up in any of the texts that you found in these libraries. But aside from numerous dialogues about these gods, there are also there's a handful of texts about lesser deities that have been contacted, but have not been conjuncted with the world. They're not committed to the blessing of Vargos necessarily. They're still sort of out there, wandering. But there's names like Vespida, who is sort of a warrior goddess. There is a figure, and this text is interesting because it's not written like a religious sort of record. It's almost like an adventure novel, the way it comes out, but it's about this sort of demigod called Lusus, Lusus, who is this sort of immortal figure who constantly is moving through sort of the cycle of life. He's always aging, but then is reborn as a new man every time he draws close to death, and he has all these wild adventures, and he's sort of this trickster figure.
Does he always go by Lucis?
Yeah, it's he's always referred to in the text as Lucis or the Lucis.
Cool.
So you find a handful of texts about like lesser entities, but you don't find, because as someone who grew up in the conclave and spent some time training there, knowing more about sort of the inner workings, what you're seeing in the library is not representative of everything that the conclave actually knows, and all the gods that they have contacted.
Because some of them are dickheads.
Yeah, like no mention of Coron, for example.
Really?
Like you don't see his name anywhere. You don't see any name of Marx either. He doesn't come up in any of these texts.
Stark and Bojlig?
It's what?
Stark and Bojlig?
Yeah, it's a very carefully curated selection, made palatable for the public.
Yeah.
The messy work of actually dealing with strange new gods is not on record in these libraries. So, cutting back to Noelle, who has been waiting patiently in line, eventually you will get back in front of Beverly, and she will say, "All right, so what can I do for you?"
I don't even remember. I need.
Gave me serious Tommy vibes.
I've been online so long I forgot.
Yeah. What day is it? I need ownership, documentation, and receipts and sales information on land along the Emerald Coast. If you can narrow it down to just Vanisteren, the name, that would be helpful.
I was about to say that is a very large span of lands. I can definitely pull some public records on Vanisteren, though.
Perfect.
Well, while
Thank
she
you.
does that, Noelle looks in vain for a window.
Yeah. So, I'll be right back.
I need light. What
I'm
time
going
is
to
it?
find the bathroom.
So she will stand up and make her way into that back room and just leave
My
you
sundial
standing,
doesn't work inside.
and you will wait for about 15 more minutes, or she comes back with a handful of papers in a few dark folders and passes those under the glass to you. She says, "This was everything I could readily find on property owned by Vanisteren. It's not much. Whenever you're done, please return them here at the window."
Does she have to stand in line again to do that?
You
No,
can just.
I
put
would
them in
just
the slot
frisbee them through the slot. Okay, I will look through these
Like, I
papers
run out the door.
to expedite. I just want to know if he actually owns the land, how long ago he bought it, just basic information about.
Also, specifically the land
All
that
right.
Barnaby lives on.
So, there is not much to sift through here. So I'll just tell you what you find. Vanus Theron's name is on a handful of deeds. These deeds describe various estates throughout the Fairwood and what's called the Hegate Range, which is a mountain range that runs to the west of the Fairwood. They all seem to be bordering each other from the look of it. And there is also another document that is not necessarily a record of sale, but more of a consolidation of estate. He has sort of bundled all of these separate purchases into one large holding, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, from the looks of it, Vanus is the legitimate owner of a fairly large section of the Fairwood and the mountains to their west.
Okay.
Barnaby living on the coast.
And looking at the actual transactions here, several 100,000 of gold pieces worth of land
Oof.
are included.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Be able to get an approximation of like on the map where he owns. Like, does it include Barnaby's
Does it?
area?
Yeah, that's a good important thing. Does it actually include Barnaby's land?
So, here's the shitty little secret, right? There is another folder of documents that you've been given here that details a fairly old negotiation that took place between Vanus and the Eastern Alliance, it looks like. And it is a deal that basically hammers out the neutrality of the Fairwood Road that runs along the coast through that forest. So Vanus doesn't actually own the road, but he does own the land on either side of the road.
Damn it.
All the way down to the ocean.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Say how far to either side of
How
where
much
Barnaby
ocean does he
lives
own?
to go.
How much?
Well, no, I mean, like, if Barnaby moves 2 miles down the road, is it going to be in a different jurisdiction, or is he still going to be in? Like, is it? Can we tell where it ends?
So it ends about a day from Helmfirth in the north, and it extends probably like another 3 days of travel south of where Barnaby is.
That's a huge plot.
The entire
Wow.
portion does not. It's not just like a straight out from the mountains, though. It's like he made sure to take control of some rivers that flowed out to the ocean. So he's got like all the way down these rivers, and that one of those rivers is the one that runs by Barnaby's place. He owns a stretch that kind of runs directly south from that river, but close to the mountains. There's another range of hills that kind of cuts through his property that he doesn't control, it looks like. But then on the other side of those hills, the property again stretches south, like another 3 days.
Does the property he not control among the hills line up at all with the path we saw Willem go down? Or we assumed Willem went down?
Y'all were well north of those hills.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from what we've determined,
It's not like just a big block that he's got. Like there's definitely like a kind of a carved
splotchy
border to it. Yeah.
but from what we've determined, it is Barnaby lives on this dude's land, and it is entirely possible that he would have to pay taxes to live there.
Yeah.
From what you're
So
seeing
the
here,
only
Yeah, at some point I'll just close the
the
folder.
only question.
I was just gonna say I'll close the folder and I'll just say,
So, what we have learned is that Vanis legally owned all of this land. Barnaby, you were living on his land. And it sounds like Willem didn't actually do anything outright illegal, as shady and scammy and horrible as he
Yes.
felt.
If he is actually legally the person allowed to collect taxes.
I suppose that is the one sticking point that we can't confirm here.
some very exciting tax music going on here.
Yeah, taxes.
Well, I really
Yeah.
hope that. I'm really starting to hope that it's the latter.
All you gotta do is just make your shack float, put it like 100 feet out in the ocean.
Yes, but do you own the air rights?
I can't do crap to you then.
Yeah,
Yes,
if
you
only-
own all the land, but I'm not on the land.
If only you had a boat restaurant.
that's an idea.
Yeah, make it a boat shop.
Well, I don't know about you two, but I could use a drink. What do you say?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Do we want to take like a 5-minute actual break?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we've been running straight for 3 hours. I'm okay with that.
And Poor Noel's been standing in line for God knows.
My legs. All right, quick break.
Okay, quick break. All right.
All right, we're back.
It is such a shame.
All right. I'm gonna say, for the sake of narrative convenience, you guys are going to wander into the same bar looking for drinks.
Nice.
So not too far from the courthouse, there is a tavern called. One moment, I have it written down.
You literally said you have to pick up the name.
No, I did actually have taverns written down. So there is a tavern called the Old Galley, which is you come to
And
learn.
also a new galleon?
Not that you can see any right now. But you do learn that this is the oldest tavern in the city. So old venerated establishment, very old school decor, worn but very nice looking oak bar, dim lighting, very large establishment. This looks like it's sort of like built out over the years and sort of taken over like the adjacent buildings to just like make more room for itself. Like 2 stories and just like the sprawling saloon. Tons of people in here. Air is thick with smoke.
What's the
People in the corner play cards.
What's the vibe in
ordering
here?
drinks.
Like, is it like a excited group, or is it a bunch of like cowboys sitting with their hats tucked down, like nobody's talking to each other?
You're having some flashbacks right
The vibe in here right now is pretty chill. It's like late after, not late. It's probably like mid afternoon at this point. You've spent all morning at this this clerk's office, right? So breaking away is probably like 3 or 4. Doesn't look like the evening crowd has filtered in yet. It's just kind of, the retired regulars chilling at the bar, some of them playing cards in the corner. But it's still a pretty big, busy bar even at this hour. Like, popular establishment.
It's cheap.
Do they have straws?
Straws?
You're gonna drink your mead through a straw.
Only paper ones.
So the bartender is this elvish-looking figure, kind of gray hair, kind of swoop bags, kind of big widow's peak, like very, very deep receding hairline, lines in the face. You ask him for a straw, he just kind of looks at you like, "Are you serious?"
Well, I was more asking, like, as a general.
You don't see anybody with a straw. No, they got tankards and bottles, like no straws that you can see.
Too long neck bottle and just shove it in the mouth. Ugh.
I think if we were gonna like actually make a thing of Drake, he might take off the bottom half of the mask.
Okay, that's fair. So you just kind of undo the fastenings on the side, pull off that little panel, and you guys just see that kind of slender draconic jaw underneath open up in a bottle.
He's also very particular about it. He'll always put his head down before lifting the thing up.
Yeah.
So, how was your day?
Um,
I guess as we're all sitting around with drinks.
Yeah.
How many drinks down am I? Real question.
How many do you want?
I don't know. I like to be in
Do it.
touch.
Are we gonna do a constitution check to see who gets drunk?
I don't know if I'm drinking that much.
Who wants? Okay.
Oh my god, the
I
DM's
don't
got
think it'd
no
be fair for
rules.
John. I don't think it'd be fair for John to compete against anybody but Barnaby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you
Plus,
guys
John's like a lightweight.
probably have some
Just
crazy
one sip and
constitutions.
Okay.
Oh, Roland. Sure.
So, if you guys are wanting to get Kronk, let's see here. Drinks are going to cost.
Oh, that's a good question.
Drinks are going to cost. No, they're not. Drinks are going to cost you 4 copper.
Bet. Let's go.
That's not too bad.
Well, I'll be drinking water then.
4 copper for a drink, and you just want water. All right.
I can do 4 copper
I mean,
for a drink.
I have 5 silver and 2 copper, and the ferry costs 5 silver. So
I will buy.
Don't you have gold?
Okay, I will see Burberry with water, and I'll be like, no. And I'm gonna buy Burberry.
Aw.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Pled, I spent all my gold on rations. I only had 2.
Yeah, rations works.
I technically have enough.
Rations,
With-
right?
Without touching my gold, I have enough for 22 drinks.
So the drinks are on John, is what I mean.
Yeah.
No, it depends on how lightweight John is.
A round for the table is 2 silver.
Can.
Don't worry
I'll
about
just pay
me,
for
I
my
will be
own. I
doing
got 4 copper I can spend.
All right.
I paid for mine.
Well, because each copper is 10, or each silver is 10 copper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2 coppers would cover the whole, or 2 silvers would cover the whole table. If somebody wants to buy a round.
Again,
Right.
you can count me out. I won't be joining.
You got a drink, Burberry got a drink, Noel got a drink, John got a drink.
Burberry will make sure to offer a like glass clink for Lauren.
Aw.
It's not great, you know, it's cool.
Okay. So y'all are chilling, got your drinks. It's 1 drink, no, not yet.
I'm tiny.
Maybe a 2. We'll see.
So I said Constitution checks to see how lightweight we are.
Yeah, there we go. I like this idea. John,
Love the idea. I love the idea of the
I-
8-foot, 350-pound
I mean,
giant getting
to be fair,
drunk
Lauren,
his ass off as 1 drink.
we did eat steak.
I know. We got food in our stomach. We're ready to
John has it. John's been starving in the damn library all day.
Touche. Fuck it, whatever. Y'all roll Constitution checks. If y'all are lightweights, you're lightweights. Let's find out.
D20.
Yeah, D20 plus
Saves
Constitution.
are just normal check.
Save. Because it's technically poison, so.
Hey, 14.
Okay, you
What's
save.
the Constitution?
So the yellow box saving throws.
John is definitely not a lightweight.
Yeah, I didn't think
He
it
got
would be.
21.
I got a 6.
Oh, Lauren is.
Like,
Hilarious.
John has a minimum 6.
Hilariously,
I like
Noel
that I get
also
it.
got
No.
a 21.
John has a passive 7.
Damn.
Well, no, it makes sense that Lauren's a lightweight, right? Because like she breathes water, so like all of the like liquid part of the alcohol just yeets.
Maybe when I drink, my like little fins just kind of like pop up because I'm rehydrating.
Not the alcohol.
That much water. I don't think there's that much water in that beer. Or though maybe they're watering down the beer, that's why there's so much water in it.
Maybe.
I'm super light.
This establishment wouldn't do that. They wouldn't want their beer down. It's good beer, for the record. It is good beer. So the only person who's getting litty is Lauren right now.
I'll just probably nurse my first drink for most of the, or at least for a little while.
So, how did things go with Gerald?
Can I get another drink, please?
I see.
Slide it down the bar for you.
Say no more.
I think you just gotta. I think you gotta stop playing around and just tell them straight up what you want.
Pour it down. Slam the cup. He's got a wife.
It has a wife or had a wife.
Burberry's gonna finish his drink and like put the mask on. He's had a wife. She
You're
is
having
very
a moment. She
dead
gave me
right now.
this little brooch. I gave him my necklace, and then all of a sudden, wife.
What you're saying is you're going steady.
You guys did
Yes,
great.
I don't know anymore.
Well, you definitely need to go talk to him. You can't leave him on that note.
Again, just
It
that.
might-
Well, maybe not
Maybe
right,
it's
right
hard.
now, but at some point.
Why don't you write him a letter?
That,
That way you can express it without having to be face to face.
and plus you can send it before we leave town. Or
Can I-
after we leave town.
I talked to Jacob about this. Do you remember what I said when I talked about the letter? Okay. Just completely out of character. But I was talking about like sending a pair of panties. Anyway,
Panties?
With your letter.
He might get the hint then.
Smell like the ocean.
it's truly fishy.
If you hold them up to your ear, you can hear the ocean.
That's the fucking real shit.
Shit, okay. Sorry. You know, letter's not a bad idea. I don't have pen or paper.
Well, I have paper.
Should I do it while I'm
I have-
intoxicated? That sounds like a
I have
bad
plenty of
idea.
paper. I would not recommend writing a love letter when you're
No,
quite
Noel,
drunk.
Noel. You should write him a poem in her stead.
I was about to say, Noel, can you please help me? I need guidance.
I could do a little ghostwriting, I suppose.
I'll take out my journal.
Yes.
Tell me the things that you like about him.
His sword.
I knew you were gonna say that.
All right,
You should go for his chivalry
Okay, his chivalry.
chivalry,
I like
and his sword. Yes.
his sword.
big sword. Get that down twice.
Gotta include the muscles in there.
Muscles,
Oh, he did
like
look very good without a shirt on.
I like it when you blush.
topless. Very external features so far. What kind of things did you two talk about?
Not his wife. Don't mention his wife.
Not,
No,
do not
not that.
mention wife. Get it?
I'm just taking notes right now what to write.
Yeah, and you should make the blushing thing sound endearing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Alright.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Bubba.
But Lauren, what did you two? I mean, what kind of conversations did you have? What did you enjoy talking about with him?
It was more of solemn conversation
It was what?
about the green one. Very solemn.
Oh,
It
solemn.
wasn't very bright.
Serious conversation.
Yeah, it was more serious. Just talking about demon slaying, the Green Wardens, the Watch.
You feel comfortable
You
enough
could do-
around him to talk about.
So basically, you guys can never talk about anything but
All right,
work.
you can do an analogy that compares Lauren and the guy with the Green Wardens and the Watch, and like how the groups should be together and shit.
Should they be together? I don't
do
know. Is that the thing?
No, it's a metaphor. It's a wait.
Right, but the metaphor needs to work on two levels. Does this even work on one?
I got this. I got. No, wait, I don't got this. Never mind.
This is literally like two coworkers getting together, and one of them's a workaholic and one of them's not. The only thing they can ever talk about is work. One of them wants to talk about something else.
Maybe
Pretty much the
there's
conversation so
something
far.
more here.
Maybe I feel safe around him. Maybe
you feel
that.
safe on. You feel comfortable enough to talk to him about things that are important to you.
But not his wife.
not the
But
wife.
not his wife. Again, I've underlined that part. You can't. Do not mention the wife.
Last person that brought up the wife was punched in the face. So no wife.
All right, I've got enough to.
You're right. What?
I've got enough to try at least.
All right, Noel. I know like jack shit about this poetry stuff, but you have this. You got this.
It's mostly bullshitting. All right, DM. I don't know if you want to roll or if Noel's just good enough at this to succeed here, but I will attempt to
yeah,
write a beautiful poem expressing the feelings that Lauren has that she can't put down on paper.
Sure. Give me. I don't know what to put like a skill to, but like, I'll say your charisma and proficiency.
Wait,
'cause
can I?
This is your fucking jam.
I mean, performance might also be a good
That's charisma.
thing.
Yeah.
I'll
Persuasion,
take
charisma,
charisma
or
plus proficiency, sure.
Performance, deception, like whatever you want to call this.
Deception. No,
Advantage because we're all helping him.
You said it was bullshitting.
that's true. It's like 10% bullshitting.
Does he get advantage for us all
Yeah,
helping him?
do I get advantage for this or?
Because we're
You know what? Yeah, this has been like a group project. Sure, I'll give you advantage. Sure.
Total of 22.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Always good. Always fucking good.
I think that you leave Noelle to her work for, say, like 15, 20 minutes. Well, she maybe goes and sits at a table alone just working on this. And when she comes back, she recites... I don't have a poem written, obviously, but she recites to you a poem that is surprisingly poignant. It's really delves into these kind of inner feelings that you have of comfort and finding solace in a new companion after a harrowing experience in your life. And
Like a ship to port after a terrible storm.
there's just a warmth
It's
to the
sword.
words that fills your mind with genuine joy, and it almost makes you blush just thinking about him.
And well, that hit like right here. I have no idea what the word investiture means, but that sounded
That was a tough
awesome.
one to find a rhyme for.
Burberry is fucking gone.
I will, I'll carefully tear the page out of my notebook and I'll fold it and hand it to Lauren. Do with it what you wish.
I will offer to pay you for a beverage.
I will take a free drink, sure.
More drinks.
You'll get fucked up today. How many silver's worth 10 copper?
And drinks for 4 copper.
I'm keeping.
Gotcha.
I'll accompany him with another drink.
Woo! More drinks. Oh, the party is relaxing, enjoying the tavern, the quiets. Maybe grab some food while you're here too if you want.
Oh, I never got to finish the story. It was at this point that I came into the story, and I had some paprika in my pouch, and I knew the best way to get that gator sneeze.
Wait, Barnaby. What's paprika?
Spice. You never had it? You had it in the gumbo.
Oh, I have to. Now.
I think you have had it.
You had it in the gumbo.
Which flavor was that?
paprika.
This one, and he pulls out a little pouch and just sprinkles it on his hand.
It disappears because it's red on red. He like shakes
Oh, wait,
his head and, like,
Did I not pour some out here? Here, hold out your hand.
He holds out his head, which is also red.
Here, put it on my blue skin. Maybe we'll see it. Spicy
Now.
up for
It's like a weird vibrating purple color now, 'cause it's like contrasting with your skin so hard.
it's pretty.
That's paprika, and if you put and found out if you put that on a gator's nose, it will sneeze.
Can I put the paprika on my nose to see what happens?
If it sneezes, when is Josh shut, not open?
I mean,
Well, you see, the thing is, it was already biting down on Benny's poor arm, so that was how I could get it out.
Okay, was this a Benny that you're actually related to, or is this a Benny that's
Look
attached
up
to you?
how
No,
clean
no,
your sneeze.
Benny. Bimmy. He's my late uncle.
Well, okay, actual uncle, actual uncle.
Oh yeah, of course he was my actual uncle. Him and my pa, Timmy. They got along real well.
Is Barnaby gesturing to his fingers as he lists these people off?
He's not.
Good to know.
Sorry, I always forget what you call your hands and your elbow and your.
My elbow's my elbow.
Does it have a name?
don't be
No.
stupid.
Dude, what kind of name is that?
Is it the whole arm?
No. You name arms for where you're from? That's kind of strange, gotta say.
Eh. What? I mean, you named all these.
What do you mean? They's family.
Just gestures in your general direction.
I just lean over to Burberry and I'm just like, I don't think this is gonna go anywhere.
Maybe not. But I might learn something.
Be my guest.
So it was also at this point that I found out after I sprinkled the paprika on its nose, some of it got into the water, and apparently paprika is real good at luring in the crocs. Because we had a few crocs come take a visit to us.
Are you saying that crocodiles are drawn to paprika that makes them sneeze?
They must have mistaken it for blood because it kind of looks like that when you get it in the water.
Such a waste of paprika.
Well, it was the only way I could get its mouth off of poor old Bimmy.
Well, I know, but I meant for the putting it in the water to attract the crocodiles.
I mean, in hindsight, yeah, that is a waste. Don't use it much for hunting.
That makes sense. It's a spice.
And then, long story short, Bimmy is, bit the dust. Or bit the paprika, as I said.
Glad to know we got to the same place, friend.
And long story short, that's now how I've got his fishing lure. It was his favorite lucky fishing lure. Although then again, it was the one that caught him that croc, so maybe he isn't so lucky.
Do you still have it?
Of course. He pulls it out. Carry it always with me.
I wasn't sure if it went the same way as whatever his name is. He holds up his hand and gestures to the ring finger.
Oh, you talking about Joe Bob?
Yeah, that one.
No, Joe Bob. He was once removed from family during a tragic accident while I was cutting some onions for the gumbo.
Is he
Still
coming
trying
back?
to find that perpetrator.
Oh, please tell me you didn't eat him.
Of course I did. Why would I eat family?
Because it looked like gumbo.
No, sirree, Bob.
No siree, Joe Bob.
You got it.
Excellent. Glad we got that sorted.
One day I'll find whoever done did it.
I believe it was you.
Couldn't be. I'd never kill family.
The perfect crime.
I mean, you might if it was an accident. You did it with you cutting the onions and it slipped or something like that, and then you read it out, which is totally a thing.
Now, you see, I didn't see what happened, so I'm sure someone came in, sliced off Joe Bob because they knew we was real close, and then got away.
Well, yeah, that's what reading or blacking out is kind of the same thing. You just kind of your brain doesn't bring in any new stuff.
Now, you see, I was cutting the onions. They had been sitting out for a bit too long, and I couldn't exactly see. Got me crying all something powerful.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I could not see the perpetrator flee.
What if you were the perpetrator?
Couldn't be. Don't kill family.
I mean, he might not be dead. He might have ran off, grown legs, became his own man.
Oh no, I gave him a burial.
May he rest in pieces.
He was a good family man. Always carried Mama's ring so good. Now this ring sometimes slips off.
Didn't you just put it on the other hand? They're the same size, aren't they?
Once I get married, sure. Not till then.
You could be married to the upper half of that finger.
Now you're just talking silly. That's talking about marrying family.
I mean, there's such a...
You don't do that. I could have swallowed.
I mean, you guys are already practically attached at the hip or hand.
I mean, that's family, ain't it? Can't get much thicker than blood.
So why is it that your fingers get names, but your elbows don't?
Well, fingers is family.
And elbows aren't? I mean, they serve about as much function.
I beg to differ.
We could probably skip over this. This is going to happen for a while.
So,
Because I can
Burberry
easily
and
keep going.
Barnaby. Burberry gets drunker and drunker and just keeps digging into this bizarre fixation Barnaby has naming his fingers. And y'all relax in the tavern. As the day winds down, the regulars begin to filter in for the night. The saloon starts to get a little louder, a little more rowdy, much smokier. Lots of laughing and clapping. There's some music being played off on one side of the hall. And before long, the evening's festivities are in full swing. So, what are you guys doing?
Well, there are new findings that me and Barnaby and John discovered today that are probably worth addressing with the group.
Alright, lay it on me. I got this.
Well, we learned that Van Esteren...
I got me mess. Sorry.
We learned that Van Esteren actually does own that land, and we also learned that if Willem is working for this man, then he kind of had every right to do what he did. Which makes our situation a little more complicated.
I mean, it's only complicated if Barnaby wants to go back and live in that house.
Well,
Because technically, right now, he is not living there. So,
It's-
wouldn't have to pay anything because he's not.
right. Well, no, it's complicated because Barnaby has expressed interest in getting revenge on Willem for doing what he did, and it kind of sounds like he didn't do anything.
But wasn't that only when he thought that
Assuming he is not who he says he is.
right, and what he was doing was illegal, right? Like if everything was on the up and up, you wouldn't care as much.
Basically, we need to verify if Willem is actually doing this legally.
What he said.
Right.
John said, yeah.
And I don't know how to do that.
I guess we can go talk to the guy.
Anybody else's video just went up crazy?
Yeah, my video's kind of glitchy right now, but
Yeah.
I just clicked
Yeah,
on it
it
and
was a little-
fixed it. There we go.
It's really funny because Chani and Jacob are on the right sides of how they're actually sitting at the desk. So when Chani looks at Jacob, I mean, it's a diagonal, but they both do this.
On my screen, that's right in the middle, so he's like in the center of everybody.
Well,
So, Barnaby, does that change how you wish to approach this? I mean, I think it must, but what does that mean for you?
If what he's been doing is all under the law, then we're even. That's how it is. But if it ain't, then I got some words for him.
Does anyone have any ideas about how to approach this problem?
I mean, holding up a glass. It's probably not the wisest.
Oh, he'd have to report to somebody, wouldn't he?
I mean, we could always just talk to Renascence still and see if their Willem actually works with him or not. And then see if maybe he knows about John's missing illness.
What would that mean? That if Barnaby wasn't paying taxes before, and Wilhelm found out that Barnaby was living on the property, then he'd have to start paying taxes because the guy didn't work for Wilhelm, but now Wilhelm knows he lives there?
Technically, Barnaby's not living there anymore.
True.
That's true.
Have you thought about a houseboat?
Sounds nice till a storm comes by.
I mean, everything sounds nice until a storm comes by. That comes from living on the coast, too.
Think of it
Exactly.
if
You don't know how many times I've had to rebuild the shack.
if you have a boat, then that way you can move along the coast. You might get more customers.
You can also move when a storm comes through.
Wasn't there that road on the trail thingy? I'm gonna just pretend I'm not. On the trail thingy, on the big road, it went off and there was like wagon marks, and we were like, oh, maybe we should go down there. And then we didn't go down there, and we just like kept going straight.
Well,
Maybe
we needed
follow
to.
that.
We need to
That was
report
my
to.
plan.
Go ahead.
Where to check? We need to report to who?
You needed to report to Bram. That was why we went north.
Oh, yeah, no. I totally the path that you were talking about, Lauren, is the one that I was thinking we'd go back to and start from there.
So, to clarify things, then, our plan is not so much subterfuge and sneaking and revenge, it's now just wanting a conversation.
I think we should go into the forest on the premise of searching for my lost colleague and check on Grimes while we're in the forest.
Because we don't even have to say if there was taxes. We could just say on the road we met a William Grimes that said he worked for you, and we were just curious if you heard of him before. Yeah, leaves us completely out of the
That
equation.
sounds like a completely sound and foolproof plan.
Or we say we're searching for a member of the Adventurers Guild, and this Grimes person said that he worked for you. We're wondering if you had any news of him throughout your territory. Oh, if he doesn't know Grimes, he'll say so, and we can check to see if he has any idea on missing adventure dude.
That sounds very reasonable. I just wish we knew more about Venice, but there's not much to know. Except that he's
I mean, from the way that he
insanely
purchased
wealthy.
land, we can. From the way he purchased land, we can tell he's wealthy and pretty meticulous.
This
And he has enough power to.
like a red song.
Well, he also has enough power to negotiate with the Alliance, which means he has some kind of backing.
What does that mean? He has power to negotiate with the Alliance?
So he had negotiated with the Eastern Alliance for neutrality or
Oh,
whatever.
right.
No, so the Alliance has. So he owns all the lands in that area, and the road through the Fairwood passes through that area. And
Wait,
so,
were they negotiating with him?
yeah, there was a document in there that summarized, a deal that they struck that the road is not technically Vanis's property. The road is public property.
Oh, okay. So I thought he was negotiating with them, but they were negotiating with him.
I mean, yeah, same thing.
Okay. They were modifying the deal with
Oh, actually,
land purchase.
thinking back, this is more tangential, but like, would we, if we wanted to, would there be like a path through the Fairwood that Vanis doesn't own, like a contiguous path?
The road, the Fairwood Road.
No, like if we went west from, like, say, Barnaby's house.
Oh, like another road, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, and like, because you said his land ownership was spotty. It wasn't like the full forest in a big square.
Yeah, it's just it's got it's an irregular line, like squiggly national border type line. It's not like just a block that's like this is all mine, like
right. So
he's bought multiple parcels that he's pieced together into a single estate.
Okay.
It's not like there's holes in the estate. It's more like the edges of the estate are square.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. The only concern then with this plan is we are technically moving onto private property.
Again, we're not investigating him, searching for a missing adventurer.
Or maybe we could send a message to Vanis and see if he's ever heard of the missing guild member.
Leave the message back, though.
We're just gonna write everyone a poem today.
Yes. Noel! Write a poem.
I could write a formal letter. I would be very good at that, but I mean, I guess, okay, let me lay out a hypothetical. So let's say we do this. Let's say we go into the forest, we find Vanis and we talk to him, and he just says, yeah, I don't know who Willem is. Oh, I don't know this man. Then what?
Then we know that we could technically go get Barnaby's shit back and not be in trouble.
Well, then
we would have grounds to investigate Willem directly.
Yeah.
And if he said that he didn't, know Grimes or whatever, then that would cause the whole other issue of if we did try to just take the land back, then that large group of people that we were initially trying to avoid might end up being on the opposition, so to speak.
See, that was my whole thing is like, if we can prove that Grimes is doing something illegal, then the guild has the ability to step in and get more reinforcements. So we don't technically have to clash with their group, like straight up. We just need to prove any kind of illegality or involvement in the disappearance of the guild member.
Well, okay. Thinking back on the conversation.
May I ask an out of character question?
So,
sorry. For an out of character question. So like you're discussing using the guild as like a police force?
Yeah, I kind of had a similar question actually.
That doesn't seem quite in line what they want.
Yeah, I guess for Pled, to tag onto that, like, is the guild like the guard, where they're just sort of there to uphold a standard of like morality and justice, or are they like just hired mercenaries, where people just go in and say like, "Hey, I need you to kill some rats," and they do it?
Closer to the latter. John would know more about the guild because he's worked with Bram closely. The guild is a it's an organization that Bram founded to do more good than he could do adventuring alone. His idea was if he got enough like-minded people together, centralized, the command structure, gave them a place to train and learn and, post and take jobs. He had the potential to spread out and do more than he ever could on his own. The guild's express purpose, the mission statement is, to help the community, do good. In practice, they are essentially mercenaries, but they are not necessarily law enforcement unless they're hired specifically for that job. And what Bram has dispatched John to do, he has done so specifically because this is, a member of the CAA who has gone missing, and it's important to take care of your people. So, on behalf of the guild, Bram has tasked John with this one.
Right,
specific-
and I was just gonna in character get into this of like,
So, when we talked to Bram, he said, if I remember correctly, he said he can't get the guild involved unless there's something actionable and it needed to be tied to this missing person, I think. Like if...
Go
ahead.
If I remember correctly, and plot correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But there were two options for things that could be actionable. If we could prove that Grimes was doing something illegal, then he could assign additional forces. Or if we could prove that he was involved in the disappearance of the guild member, then we could take them out.
I thought it had
yeah.
to be tied to the guild member, but if that's not correct.
If he's doing something illegal, then Bram, in theory, could involve the local authorities and could work with them about it and be like, look, there's a criminal, da-da-da, let us help you, da-da-da, right? But if he's just going after a guy unsanctioned, that's just like a vendetta. And, he's not about that.
John wasn't exactly happy that he couldn't get assistance, but he understood.
Right, yeah. It wasn't like, John, you fucked up. It was a John, I can't do anything with just this. I need more.
Okay.
So I understand where you were coming at, all it's not we don't have to prove that he's part of the disappearance of the guild member. That is one way to go after them.
Yeah, it's like you have a suspicion about this guy that he's shady, and
if we can prove he's doing something illegal, that is an alternative way to go after this person.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little better. Okay, so then yes, I think we're all in agreement then that the next best step would be talking to Venice. Just going up to him and asking some questions.
Do we know which of the apparently bajillion estates this person owns he's at?
Yeah, was there anything in the documents about a primary estate or where he first started buying up land? Maybe where we could reasonably assume a house would be or something like that?
Biggest estate?
Yeah, what was the oldest purchase or something like that?
The oldest purchase was probably one of the border estates.
Didn't Grimes say he was living in the mountain?
Yeah, he did say that.
And you said there was a mountain estate, right?
Yeah, he does have land in the mountains. The Hegate Range is what it's called.
The Hegate Range. Well, we can start there and start looking.
I think we go down the path that we found in the forest and use that to try to head towards the Hegate Range. Does that make sense geographically? But
if you were to go back into the forest and take that path by Barnaby's house, you're saying?
Yeah.
Would that lead us towards the Hegate Range?
That path would cut directly west from the coast into the woods, and that leads directly to the mountains.
Perfect.
The mountains also stretch. It's a north-south range, so In theory, after you get back across the bay to Woodhall, if you wanted to go south from Woodhall, you'd hit the mountains as well, like the tip of them. So you could go long ways down the mountain range.
Yeah, but there's no like path. That would just be traveling through the wilderness.
Yeah, that's true.
And do we have any reasonable understanding of how long of a trip this would be to get to the, like...
I mean, to get to Barnaby's house, it's another
6 days.
6 days, 7 days. Yeah. 7 days from Woodhull. So take the ferry, get back to Helmfirth in a day, and then get back to Barnaby's house in 6 days. The mountains are... They're probably less than 100 miles from the coast. So if you were to go from Barnaby's house, it'd be a few days to get to them.
Okay. Well, Barnaby,
Like,
what
they're
do you
probably
think?
in like 60, 70 mile range, roughly. Like they're visible on the horizon and they're prominent, but they're far off.
So my question about the missing guild member was like the last known place generally just the Emerald Coast.
It was at Forest.
It was in the forest.
Actually brings up a good question. Barnaby, did you when was the last time you saw Folk?
That's
See, what
a
is that?
good question.
He would have stopped at Barnaby's if you had gotten to Barnaby's. Like that would
Would
be
you
a
like me to
pretty
roll
good
history,
assumption.
DM?
No, you don't need to do that. You never saw Folk.
Folk disappeared between Helmfirth and Barnaby's.
Yep.
Never saw him.
Is that like on Vanis's land where he disappeared?
On and very close to, yeah. Most of that area is.
I think you said that a day south of Helmfirth is where his land starts.
Yeah.
So 5 out of the 6 days of travel.
I do actually have a map if you guys want to go look for a map to purchase.
We can do that
So
first thing in the morning.
Burberry and Noel wouldn't have a map.
This might sound like a dumb question, but I know that a lot of libraries that are in, here have maps in them that are available for copy.
The Adventurers Guild also probably has one for pretty cheap.
I like the copying map. We're gonna have to buy that.
And me and the Lord have been to a lot of libraries today.
It's true. That's true. If you guys want to hit a library up, you could probably find a map in one.
Oh, also,
Well,
I didn't...
Thing is,
Go ahead.
Vanis, go talk to him. We can literally just say, like, on your land, man disappeared looking for him, so we have no reason to be there without Willem.
I can't hear you at all.
Yeah, sorry, what was that?
Well, technically, since the guild member disappeared on Vanis's land, we also have a valid reason to be there and asking him.
Yeah, that was what I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I did. Sorry. It's sometimes a little hard to get through.
I think we have enough reason to go looking into this, and as long as our motives initially here are to investigate and not to just confront Willem, I see no problems. Also, something I was going to mention, given how money has come up a few times with the expensive ferry and whatnot, Brahim did offer me and anyone who wanted to help John a little bit of money to aid him in this. Obviously, that's only going to come through if there actually is something illegal going on, but we could get a payday out of this.
Me
Just
how
wondering.
think about poverty.
Considering how expensive the ferry fees are, would it be cheaper to like rent a sailboat?
I think if it was, nobody would use the ferry.
Wasn't there a talk of buying a door?
Wasn't there talk of me turning into an octopus and traveling people across the river?
I mean,
Are
I
we
don't
gonna
hate
do
it.
that? Because I'm down for that.
That sounds more fun. And probably a lot more cold.
I want to see the look of the eyes of the fairy people as we're going past them.
We just flip them
Actually,
off.
could I spend a day and just transform as an octopus and just do fairy routes and earn some money?
Charge 5 silver instead of 6. Or 4 silver, sorry, instead of 5.
Yeah, we'll drop it down to like 3 or 4.
So a large octopus or a giant octopus is a large creature, so that's a 10 by 10 square. So you could conceivably carry 4 individuals that are not too heavy for you to carry.
Octopus.
That's what I was thinking. It would probably be best to do 2 trips. One with everybody, or one with Burberry and Noel, and then one with John and Barber.
Actually, no offense to Lauren, but I do not like water. I'll go ahead and still take the ferry.
I can keep you above water. Wasn't gonna dunk y'all.
I also kind of don't want to be manhandled by tentacles.
Everybody's dream.
Flashbacks from last campaign.
Oh god.
Your previous character is seeping through.
But could I actually make money as like legitimately turning into an octopus and like taking people across the ferry?
You could try it.
The fairy people would not be very happy with you.
Octo rides.
Come get your here, Burberry.
For one day only.
One day only. Get your octo ride here.
If there's children's, I'll spin while I go.
Yeah.
Turns me adorable.
You could totally do it if you wanted to try it.
Really.
It could be a great way to earn money.
Could earn some cash.
Speaking of earning money, as I assume move toward the end of this session, could I just spend the evening like busking as Noel, like playing music on whatever stage is in here or whatever, and taking the money of drunkards?
Go for it.
Okay. Before I do though,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go. Is there like a bathroom? Is there like a restroom here? Is that a thing?
Yeah, there's a bathroom in the back.
Cool. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna take out my disguise kit. I'm going to put on something that's like a little bit more formal than this place maybe would require. Something that's attention grabbing.
Okay.
And then I'm going to transform into a very curvaceous, buxom human woman.
Okay.
I suppose that's why do you need the disguise kit? You're a changeling.
Because it doesn't change my clothes.
Yeah.
So I will be, I will be a very attention-seeking appearance for the evening, and do my very, very best to extract every ounce of silver, copper, and gold from these drunkards that I can.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a performance check then.
Natural 20.
So what's the total?
26.
26. Goofy doofy guy.
You just get 26 souls.
Okay.
So I'll be going up on the. I'll be going up on the stage. I'll be playing music, taking requests. Being extra flirty and just doing my very best. Not going to lead anyone on. I'm not going to do a Willem, but I will make sure that I'm performatively flirty.
All right, that's fair.
Character question: Do we know that that's Noel?
I wouldn't tell you, but you would see me playing a liar.
I had to go to the bathroom, and then this French accented busty lady comes out like la 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 la.
Like, does that strangely remind you of Noel?
Looks familiar.
John is strangely attracted and not at the same time. It's like something feels weird, but this.
I think I might know just because I've been traveling with Noelle for a while before this, but like,
I mean, you know she's a changeling.
Yeah, I would say
tell you
that
what,
get
I'm
our.
gonna give you an insight check. Let's see how long
I
it
would
takes
say
you guys to figure this out.
For Burberry, our experience, given that we've traveled not terribly long together, even though it's longer than these guys technically, like we haven't been in a situation where I've needed money this badly. So
that's fair.
So you probably wouldn't have seen me pull this stunt.
That's fair. So that was a 17.
See something?
17 on its side. Who is this strange woman and why is she carrying Noelle's lyre?
Noelle's been mugged.
9.
So I got a 3.
Okay. I don't. It does not sound like the party's like figuring this out at like all.
17. I got a 17.
Except for the 17, which
I got a 3.
piece it together before too long. But
Burberry just sort of intuitively understands. She's like, oh, okay.
Gotcha.
I get it.
So yeah, Noelle.
I'm actually gonna give you a shield of faith while you're doing it because it creates a sparkling field around you, so I'll give you some extra.
For how long?
Let's add more silver to his payout.
Up to 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. So while I'm doing like a particularly beautiful ballad, you can sparkle me up.
Okay. I'll say you come out of that. Let's see here. Let's give you a fucking roll on the loot table here because that was a fucking great roll. Why don't you give me a D100 roll, Pete?
Ooh. I don't get to use those
And then
very
add
much.
that 26 to it.
It's well above 100.
Okay, cool. You are going to make some fucking cash tonight, my friend.
88 plus 26.
Holy shit. Yeah, okay.
That's 104. Right?
I may have to rethink how I do this, but tonight you are making money. So this loot
Oh, no,
table.
wait, 114. Sorry.
I was like, wait a minute.
So this spat out 1d6 platinum pieces for your level. And I rolled a 6.
6 platinum?
Over the
did you
course
say
of this
platinum?
evening, you are going to rake in some fucking money for the party.
Holy shit balls.
It's going to come in primarily silver, with a handful of gold coins.
So you want to give me just some numbers to put into my wallet here, or?
Yeah, let me see how to fucking divvy that up. Easy.
Hang on, let me whip up some stew for everybody to eat while they're listening.
Easy.
Get some money out of them too.
Apparently-
This is also a restaurant.
All right,
so-
here's my headcanon. There was like a meeting of like rich nobles here tonight, just by sheer coincidence.
Yeah.
It was some rich kid's birthday, and the whole family took him out for a party, along with all of his friends.
No, it's a high school reunion for rich people.
Oh.
The private high school.
So this is going to be. Oh, I nailed that. Okay.
60
So
gold.
24 gold pieces.
Okay.
And then you're gonna get 360 silver pieces.
Can I go become an octopus and go start taking people across the ferry? Jesus.
Well, this is my entire evening. Holy shit, though. Well, I can afford the ferry now.
A little bit.
You could probably afford the ferry.
The whole ferry.
Actually, given our split, I don't know how we determined our splits, Burberry, for financial stuff. I assumed it was just kind of like whatever, but I'll just give Burberry 64 silver at the end of the night.
Thanks.
You wouldn't. I mean, you technically knew it was me, but I didn't know that you knew. So once Noelle is done performing for the evening and everyone is begging for an encore, she will go back to the restrooms.
I think you would have figured out that Burberry knew whenever he started casting shiny
Oh,
spells
that's
on
true.
you.
I guess I wouldn't know necessarily. Yeah. Sure, but yeah, I'll go back to the restrooms at the end of the evening, change back into typical changeling Noel, put on my traveling outfit, and when I sit back down next to Burberry, I'll just like subtly hand you a bag of silver, 64 silver.
You hear in your mind, that was an inspired performance.
Thank you very much. How do you think I made it this far?
I assumed it was because you were a very smart woman.
Yeah,
I'm like, I start off with like 5 gold. Just like,
that was an excellent performance.
ooh.
I will probably reevaluate how I award gold for performances in the future, but
No, you missed. There was this really busty lady that came up on stage, and wow.
Damn.
it's on that one.
I probably could have learned a lot from her. Oh well.
Oh my god. All right, guys. Well, Noel has made y'all some bank, and the night is running late at the saloon. What do you guys want to do for nighttime?
I
Or y'all
will
bunking
get us
down?
all rooms at the inn. Is this an inn and tavern, or is this just a tavern?
I believe this one has rooms. It does, yes. They are on the 3rd floor. It is historical feeling. This place has the vibe of like an old, well-preserved building. They're not the most up-to-date and stylish accommodations, but they are definitely comfortable and well furnished. Very plush beds with old timey designs in the comforters and such. It's a nice tavern, so the rooms are going to be a touch costly.
I was gonna say I could go sleep at the Green Wardens.
Yeah, if you wanted to go see your mom, you could stay there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that would
probably
probably
go
make
and
sense.
stay with
Okay.
my family.
I will get.
You could invite Gerald to come visit.
If Lauren doesn't want to stay here, I would get a room for me and Burberry, and then Barnaby and John.
Okay, so a room is going to be 5 silver.
I
A
will.
room's the same amount as 1 ration? What?
A ration is enough food for the whole day.
Mhm.
A ration is 3 meals.
I think what's throwing us off is the ferry is really overpriced.
I mean,
Monopoly.
convenience.
Because if a gold is $100, then it's $50 for a ferry ticket, basically.
Yeah.
You've got a Monopoly.
Walk around the bay. It's like a 2 or 3 day trip. Or you could ride our ferry.
We need ferry competition. They have a monopoly,
Right,
right?
and
4 silver for a ticket.
I think Burberry asks for extra blankets and builds a blanket fort.
I would absolutely help you build a blanket fort, Burberry.
Okay. So Noel and Burberry have a room. John and Barnaby have a room, and Lauren will head home. Well, not home, but head to the keep and spend the night with her mother and her friend. Do you want to talk to them before bed, or do you want to talk to them in the morning?
I don't know if they're still awake, but
That's fair. They probably would be a little tuckered out by the time you actually got there. And most of the refugees in that room are probably like sleeping.
yeah, so I'll just go.
Try to like lift her head like, "Oh, Lauren, you came back. Come here." She'll just kind of wave you down to the blanket. Okay, so we're just about to call it a night. However, there is one small matter of business to take care of.
Uh-oh.
Alora. Or no.
Oh.
No, not you. We've talked to you. Noel.
Uh-oh.
Excuse me. Noel.
You need to pay taxes for that busking.
No, more taxes.
You need a busking license too.
Now you're just gonna be jumped. They're gonna be like, "Who's been looking into this person?"
Noel, as you get to sleep in the first like comfortable bed you've slept in weeks. Like this is a nice, cozy room. Comforter's warm. The bed is soft and supportive. The pillows are all nice and plush. It's just like, oh, I'm in heaven. And you drift off like that. But your sleep is somewhat troubled. You feel this recurring prickling sensation. Like something is poking you, it's prodding you. You kind of toss in your bed, kind of swat it away. But it keeps coming back. It's like something's there. And then right next to your ear, clear as day, you hear a voice. Well, Miss Noel, sounds like you want to talk. And we'll cut there.
Oh, so creepy.
Is this more of an in the head thing, or is this something that I might have overheard?
Give me a perception check.
Ew.
Willem has transformed into bedbugs. That's how I interpreted this scene.
19.
19?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, Burberry, you also hear this voice on the other side of the room.
I assume it's still like middle of the night here.
It is like the dead of night.
Oh, that's fine.
Recognize this voice?
I feel like Burberry's always like half awake.
You definitely recognize the voice.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Yeah. So,
all right,
we'll pick up there.
Oh boy, my pass is already coming back to home.
Oh boy.
How exciting. Okay, one more matter that is not roleplay related.
Okay.
We still have to pick VIP and get our points for interactions.
Yes,
I assume that was where Plett was going with this.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So, for supports, I definitely have Burberry and Lauren because, goddamn, y'all wingman so good.
Sounds good.
I also have Barnaby, John, Lauren, all with Noel because Noel has just been fucking all over the place today,
Killing it.
doing fucking legal work and writing poems and shit.
Sure.
So Noel with everybody?
Noel with everyone but Burberry, and then Burberry with Lauren.
Wait, does that count for?
Yeah, so you would get one with Noel. And,
So I didn't get one with Noel? But we built an awesome blanket fort.
There was also the busking thing.
Oh, and Noel split her profits with me.
No, you and Burberry had a whole scene together.
We did. It was
And
fun.
then Noel was helping Barnaby out, and John at the fucking
Courthouse?
clerk's office. Yeah, the courthouse.
I was
and
trying
then
to.
Noel wrote you that poem. Yeah.
And Noel and Burberry with the busking thing.
Made her shiny.
You did also get a lot of money. All right, fine. Yeah, fine. Noel with everybody.
Yay! I still only have 2 points with
I feel like
John.
Noel. I was gonna say I feel like Noel's gonna be the first one to have like several supports.
Maybe.
And if you can obviously say no. Do I get one with Barnaby for that long and awkward conversation regarding all of his fingers?
Sure. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Does Lauren get a D counter for Gerald? She's like every time gets one more. Has to get to a
Lauren.
10.
With Gerald. I am making note of your progress with Gerald, so don't worry.
And I'm gonna vote Noel for MVP. Like hands down.
Yeah, I agree.
All right then, Noel. Sounds like you were getting a inspiration back.
Thank you guys.
We're doing a bunch of lawyer stuff and then making a crap load of money.
Yeah, I thought that lawyer stuff would go somewhere, but I appreciate the inspiration. That's nice.
You did a lot today.
Noel's very busy.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of sleeping
Well,
in
the other
his
half of the
chair.
party was trying to get busy.
Donna's just sitting there like.
No.
And next session, I get to be stabbed in my sleep, so that's fun.